Alright, let's get this going. It's been a little while, sorry for the delays. Let's see if everything displays properly. Alright, good stuff. Looks like the window has stayed its previous size. Pop it a little bit more open like this. There we are. Alright, good stuff. Alright, cool. So we're back to Octave, which is the game engine made by Dinglemancer, and it can export to Wii, GameCube, and Nintendo 3DS. Allegedly. Hello Studio by Mr. Worldwide. Hello. It's good to see you in the chat. I'm just going to be going through the tutorial and hoping that this all works enough. And yeah, I'm usually a Godot developer, but I'm going to be dabbling in this one for a change and see how far we go. All right. So I've already done part 1 a bit earlier today, but I ran into a bit of an issue in part 1 where I was trying to get that the code working, but yeah, so now it works. The bird is unlit at the moment, but you can see if I press the button that it does the jump thing. So yeah, we've got inputs working now, which is fantastic. So the issue was, if I go over here to SC bird, let's open the scene. I go to the bird. Okay, so the script is here, and I did all of that correctly, but I needed to press this button to reload the script, because I was cutting this and then putting it back in and pressing save and hoping it would work. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, I hit reload script file, and that should do it. For some reason, this bird has its texture done again. Let's go back to default. Okay, the texture isn't working. Why is that? I've fixed the texture like multiple times, twice already. I've saved it, and it's just not working. So if I go into models, Mr. Worldwide, this is all gibberish to me, but I will happily observe my fellow Westman working his ingenuity, lol. Well, thank you, Mr. Worldwide. I hope it's somewhat entertaining. I don't know, it's not the most entertaining stream, to be honest, but I wanted to do a stream, and I wanted to try this tool, because I own a Nintendo 3DS. I got it on launch day, and if I just wanted to do a hobby game for 3DS, that would be cool. I know about if I could actually commercially release a 3DS game when Nintendo no longer supports it officially. It's a bit of a weird gray area, so I'll have to look into that. But if it's like, if I could make a small 3DS game, maybe, even if it's just a tiny little hobby I do on the side, you know. And I would like to kind of get into more using IDEs and using other coding languages, just so I don't get too Godot brained, and I can use other things. Okay, SK bird, mbird. Let's go to mbird. So we go into the properties of this thing, and the texture has been reset to T white for some reason. So if I go to T bird, that's the texture for the bird, and then I click this button, it'll give the bird a texture. It's a pretty strange way of working, but it works, so that's good. And this is what's his name? Dinglemancer's model. So I've just nicked it from him and his tutorial, basically. And that should work. So play. Okay, there, that's good. So that's all fantastic. mbird. Okay, let's open this. The properties of this again. Okay, and we hit save. Was I supposed to do this? Something here. I'm going to go back in the tutorial, see if there was something I missed. Exploring meshes, adding bird mesh, people controls, installing bird default scene. Alright, so my current timestamp is 28:56. So I'm going to just make a little note of that in the chat. So that I can come back to where I am, because I want to double check, make sure there isn't something important I've missed.
Yes. So these are, especially for retro stuff, these are the materials you want to use. The other ones require Vulkan. So
man, this tutorial is 2.5 hours. I'm going to be here forever. Let's speed it up.
If you had that T-bird selected already, then it will, by default, put that texture as the first texture on the material, which is great.
Yes, that's cool. All right, brilliant. Is texture 0, and if I go into my thing, texture 0, UV map 0. Okay, and then there's Tev mode pass. Replace, pass. Okay, but now it looks white. That doesn't seem right. Weird. All right. Replace, modulate, decay, add, subtract. Okay, so this is just like the filter mode. So this doesn't seem to be related to whether it works or not. Yeah, it looks like this just changes the scale of it for some reason. Oy vey. Let's go. Birdie, alright.
So
Let's see if there's anything
asset,
else.
you can right click and go save, or you can hold Shift and press S while your mouse is in the assets window. That'll also save it. And let's also go to our skeletal mesh. And we want to switch this guy's material so that it uses our M bird that we just created. So what you're going to do is going to click on the M bird, and then you're going to click this button right here next to the material property. You click that, it will transfer whatever you have selected in the assets panel over to that property. Okay, so that's looking good. Make sure you save your skeletal mesh so that the default material stays on it. And then now, let's go back over here into the scene, click on the mesh, and let's go down until we find the skeletal mesh property. You can also collapse these little headers here. So if we want to see the mesh properties, collapse all the rest.
All right, fantastic. Okay, let's get back to the tutorial. 2856, here we go. Okay.
Used was wherever our editor camera was. And if you don't have a camera,
So this is where I was.
Start playing editor from your current camera location. Second thing is that you notice the lighting went away because that was just preview lighting. So we need to add a directional light to the scene. So we'll just hit Shift A, 3D, directional light 3D. And now we have light in the scene.
Shift A. Alright, it's going too fast for me. Let's put this down to 1.5 so we don't get too out of whack.
It will just start playing editor from your current camera location.
Okay, not Control A, Shift A.
The lighting went away because that was just preview lighting. So we need to add a directional light to the scene. So
what's he going to do?
A, 3D.
Point light, I assume?
Directional light 3D.
Directional light, okay.
Now that we have light in the scene, the preview lighting is turned off.
Okay.
So I'm just rotating the directional light.
Put that over here.
The way that I want it to.
Point it in a direction. Okay, rotate that.
Oh, another little tip is you can hold Shift down while you're rotating, scaling, or translating to move slower. Okay, that looks pretty good. I hit Control S to save. And I guess we can add a camera too while we're at it. So I'm just going to add basic 3D camera.
Oh yeah, we'll have the directional light like this.
And we'll push this guy back.
Oh yeah, camera. We gotta add a camera, huh?
Now the camera by default will be in perspective mode.
3D camera, 3D, brilliant.
I'm not sure if this will work. We'll have to actually play the game to see what it looks like. So let me hit play. Okay. It'll move the bird a little bit farther over to the left.
How do I get a grid to show again?
And let me turn off the grid.
I'm trying to remember how I showed the grid. Let's see, GRS, uniform scale, and show parent. Okay, how do I show the grid again? Oh, I think you can just go view grid. All right, it would be nice to show the keyboard shortcuts in these drop downs as well. So I'll add that to my feedback. Show keyboard shortcuts in drop down menu. That would be a good way to teach the people how to do things. Yeah, proxy, bound, grid. What else? Grid. No, yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I can't remember what the keyboard shortcut for grid was. So that's cool. So that's the camera, is it? Alright, if I go play. Okay, fantastic. That's pretty good. And it drops you where the camera actually is. Okay, fantastic. The camera's just a cone though. It doesn't show where the camera's actually looking. Like the actual viewport, the way other editors would have. So that'd be cool. Camera should show viewing area. Ideally with a preview mode. So we go to this and we go, and maybe it just lists like all the cameras that are in the scene. I think that would be cool. But yeah, you can kind of get away with it like this, but yeah, it's not ideal. G, can I move this camera? Okay, great. And move it on the, so let's move it all the way back here. Great, and let me look back at the tutorial again.
Okay, not too bad. You can try switching off perspective and seeing how that looks. Okay, the bird's not in the scene. You have to adjust the ortho width, make it a little bit larger. Let's go like 20.
That's a good idea. Turn off perspective.
Okay, showing a little bit there.
Oh yeah, we got an orthographic
again.
3D now.
And maybe move them a little bit.
Where plane, far
Okay,
plane,
we'll screw
field
back
of
the later,
view.
but,
If we
okay,
set
now
this
game's
to
in order,
90, the
which will
bud
probably
should
give you
now
the
be
best results because you
slower.
won't get any perspective distortion, but maybe you want some perspective distortion.
This
Yeah,
field of
okay,
view
this is the
make...
first step. Also,
Oh,
one other thing
ortho
you can
width,
do,
that's what I'm looking for.
you can hit
30, let's
Alt-P
try
to
that.
pause. And when you pause, you can hit F10 to step 1 frame at a time. You can hit F8 to eject from the plane editor camera. So like the game's still running, but you can move around and click things and inspect stuff. You can hit F8 to re-inject the camera back into the game. So those can be helpful for debugging. And then escape to exit.
Alright, those were some
Okay.
keyboard shortcuts I should
That
pay
is-
attention to. Let me make
Also,
notes
one
of
other thing
them.
about plane editor, you can hit Alt-P to pause. And when you're paused, you can hit F10 to step 1 frame at a time. You can hit F8 to eject from the plane editor camera. So like the game's still running, but you can move around and click things and inspect stuff. You can hit F8 to re-inject the camera back into the game. So those can be helpful for debugging. And then escape to exit.
Alright, brilliant. Alt P to
That
pause the
is
game,
where
F10 to
we're
view
at.
a frame by frame, and F8 to eject from camera.
Yeah, I think I already mentioned that. Well, just in case I didn't, but if you see a golden name up here, like bird is gold or yellow, that means that that node is linked to a different scene. In this case, SC bird.
Alright.
You
And
can
if I
actually make
go...
links if you need to, for instance,
F8
like,
did he say?
change the mesh or something, you can right click and do unlink scene.
Okay,
But just keep in mind
fantastic.
that will actually break it, so changes to SC bird won't get reflected here. In the future,
Alright,
I'm hoping
fantastic.
you'll be able to override properties on subnodes, but for now you can really override the top level nodes properties. So, okay, yeah, I think that's all for this part. Now let's move on to actually animating and maybe rotating the bird so that you can see it going up and down. I think the original Flappy Bird, the bird like tilts down as it falls, so we'll try to do something similar to that. Let us go back into the to the bird.lua script, and on start we want to get a reference to the mesh node because we want to play an animation on it. So you can do self.mesh.
Alright, brilliant. We're back into the coding. Let's go.
Script instance table. So self.mesh equals self find child mesh and true.
Oh,
Oh yeah, actually, I'll explain this real fast, and then I'll tell you where to look at for documentation in quotes. So, find child is a function on nodes that will find a child by name, and the second parameter is telling you whether you want to recursively search. So, if you can't find it on the first level of children, then you'll search each of those children's children to see if there's a child by the name of mesh. And I believe we named it mesh, didn't we? Yes, so same mesh here. And so if you need to find all the functions available to you for a specific node or an asset or something, as far as Lua documentation, the best place to look is in the C++ source code, unfortunately. So I'm going to add documentation eventually, but for now, you will have to actually go into C++. So if you go an engine, source, Lua bindings. Oops, that's not what I wanted.
no
Okay, so
documentation
we have a
yet.
few
Brilliant.
lists of classes here. So, so for instance, let's just look at node3d.lua. So these will show you all the functions available for anything that derives from a node3d. And I'll probably have to, see, I need to make documentation for this so you know, like, well, what does inherit from a node3d? But basically, anything that's in 3D space, like a point light, a directional light, a static mesh, skeletal mesh, particle system, those are all things that inherit from node3d. So might not be obvious. So I definitely need to add documentation, but let's just look at these. So if you want to see, what's a good example to do? I guess look at, I haven't really used look at recently, so I forget exactly how you use this function. So we're in the header file right now, node3d_lua.h. And this gives you basically a summary of all the functions available. But if you go to the C++ file, here's where you can see the actual parameters. So we want to go to the lookat function. So just Control F for lookat. And here you will see what it requires. So it needs a node3d first. So you'll see these check functions. These are going to be checking the parameters. So the very first parameter is
Oh my
node3d.
gosh.
Then it needs a vector, which looks like to be the world position that it needs to look at. And then if there is a third parameter given, that is the up vector. Otherwise, it looks like it defaults to the +y direction. So this is not the best situation to be in. Hopefully I'm gonna get like a web documentation up that has all of these things and more details about how to use the functions. And yeah, but for now, you really just have to look at C++ to know what functions are available. So yeah, so all the nodes will have Lua script functions available, but
Man, that's
also
quite
other things are
something.
world. So like everything, all the nodes get put into a world, and here you can do things like
Documentation would be so good.
find a node, load a new scene in your world. Like if you want to switch to a different level, you would do that as calling a function on a world.
I mean, you could literally just copy and paste this
is
into a
like,
document and then be like, type.
Renderer might be
So
used often.
I'm hoping he has some documentation ready in a few days. Or soon enough. Ah,
Maybe
man.
you won't. Oh, you can add debug draws, debug lines. So anyway, I'm getting lost in all the details of the Lua scripting, but this is where you need to check for all the functions available. So I'm sorry about that, but it'll be fixed in the future. Whew, okay. So where were we? Oh yeah, we found the mesh that we want to animate, right? Well, once we have the mesh, we can call. Actually, let's look at the documentation again, because we want to play animation, right? So let's go back to the Lua bindings, and let's go to skeletal mesh 3D.
Let me actually go.
Oops, that's shadow mesh 3D. Skeletal mesh.
Diagnosis tool. Can I actually find what he's
3D.
looking
yes,
for?
3D is the node. Skeletal mesh.
Solution Explorer.
Just
Where is Solution Explorer? It's gone.
So here are all the functions we have. So looks like we've got play animation. So I'm just going to hit F12 while selecting that to go to the definition. And here we go. It needs a skeletal mesh component, of course, or a skeletal mesh node, and then it just needs an animation name. And then it looks like there's some optional parameters here for whether it loops.
I'm just going to kind of do what he does.
The weight of the animation if you're playing multiple animations on top of each other, and the priority of the animation.
So what folder is that in?
We just need to make sure it loops, but we'll specify all these just to be safe. Because we want to play an idle animation. And actually, something we should put is the priority, because what we're going to do is we're going to be playing an idle animation and then play a flap animation on top of that whenever the player hits the spacebar or the A button. So let's use self.mesh, and then you need to use a colon here because the first parameter it's requesting is the skeletal mesh 3D.
I don't think I've got that correct. Let's fix that.
This thing as itself as the first parameter. It's something very common, and it kind of emulates object-oriented programming.
Mesh.
So we'll do self.mesh play animation idle.
Play
that's the name of the animation.
Animation idle.
And set true for the looping. That's the third parameter. And then its speed just to 1 for now. Weight to 1. And its priority we'll set to 1. I honestly forget if I'm pretty sure.
Looks like this needs to be float values.
Priority is 0 and the highest is 255. Looking at this right now, but I kind of forget. But we'll just put it at 1, and then we'll make sure the flap plays at a higher priority because you can't play multiple animations on top of each other. So we got that. I guess we should check to see if it animates properly. When you're the editor and you want to reload scripts, you can press Alt R, and that will reload all scripts.
Let me go back and make notes of what he just said about the animation thing.
For the looping, that's the third parameter. And then speed just to 1 for now. Weight to 1, and its priority we'll set to 1. I honestly forget if I'm pretty sure.
Priority.
The lowest priority
1,
is 0.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Right now, but I kind of forget. But we'll just put it at 1, and then we'll make sure the flap plays at a higher priority because you can't play multiple animations on top of each other. So we got that.
And he's put 1 twice.
I guess we should check to see if it animates properly. When you're the editor and you want to reload scripts, you can press Alt R, and that will reload all scripts.
Ah man, if only you told me that a little sooner.
Yeah,
oh well.
Reload all scripts works too. Okay, so let's see. Does it work? Yeah, he's wiggling his wings a little bit, so the idle animation is playing. Cool.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just have to trust the numbers, huh? All right. Let's do. Is it Control R? Reload all scripts. All right, brilliant. Okay. See him animating. Right. Did I miss something? Begin animating the bird. Continuing animation. Okay. Was there something I missed? I think there might be. Let me go back and just double check.
Okay, yeah, I think that's all for this part. I think they really want to get a reference to is linked to a different scene. In this case, SC bird. You can actually break links if you need to, for instance, like change the bird won't get reflected here. In the future, I'm hoping you'll be able to override properties on subnodes. Okay, yeah, I think that's all for this part. Now let's move on to actually animating and maybe rotating the bird so that you can see it going up and down. I think the original Flappy Bird, the bird like tilts down. If you can't find it on the first level of children, then you'll search each of those children's children to see if there's a child by the name of Mesh. And I believe we named it Mesh, didn't we? Yes, so same Mesh here. And so if you need to find all the functions available to you for a specific node or an asset or something, as far as Lua documentation, the best place to look is in the C++ source code, unfortunately. So I'm going to add documentation eventually. So where were we? Oh yeah.
Alright, so it's not working for me. Have I done this incorrectly? Let me go back to SC Bird. Okay, mesh is lowercase. Let me give this another little go then. Hey, like Dino, someone's helping you from what I hear. I'm watching a tutorial. It's quite something. This is Octave. It's a game engine made by one guy called Dinglemancer, and it can export to GameCube, Wii, and Nintendo 3DS, apparently. So I'm kind of giving it a bit of a dabble, since I was a launch day 3DS adopter. And yeah, it was overall pretty good, but yeah, I know it's difficult to make a follow-up to Smash Brawl. I was a little disappointed with 4. It was a bit more of just a fighting game, but that's just me. I was definitely one of those guys who likes Brawl because of the art style, the music, and the subspace emissary. So yeah, I noticed Mesh is lowercase, so I'm thinking that might have something to do with it. Because I always tend to do things a little bit differently than the tutorial. Okay, if I do that, and I go save. Okay, and we do Control R to reload the scripts. Brilliant. And we hit play. Okay, nice. His wing is moving now. Fantastic. All right, I'm up to speed. Good. Let's keep going.
That we want to animate, right? Well, once we have the mesh.
But yeah, Fong is apparently working on on some games or doing something creative soon. So yeah, keep us posted, Mr. Fong. It'll be good, interesting to see what you're doing. All right. So I've already done this function,
node, and then it just needs an animation name, and then it looks like there's some optional parameters here for whether it loops, the speed it plays at, the weight of the animation if you're playing multiple animations on top of each other.
Ah, weight of the animation. Okay, so that's what that is. All right. Let me make note of that. Looping, speed, animation, weight. I see. So that's, I guess, like blending between two animations, something like that, more than anything, rather than actually uniformly stacking them. So I don't know. I'll have to see how this goes.
And the priority of the animation. So we just need to make sure it loops, but we'll specify all these just to be safe, because we want to play an idle animation. Actually, something we should put is the priority, because what we're going to do is we're going to be playing an idle animation and then play a flap animation on top of that whenever the player hits the spacebar or the A button. So
still closing chapter on uni. All right. Well, hope it all goes well, and hope it's not too expensive, because yeah.
Well, let's do self.mesh, and then you need to use a colon here, because the first parameter it's requesting is the skeletal mesh 3D, and if you do this colon here when you're calling a function, that will pass this thing as itself as the first parameter. It's something very
A colon passes itself as the first parameter. That's interesting. I better take note of that. Okay. Lua. First parameter. To function parameter colon makes the parameter. All right. I hope I remember that vaguely.
common, and it kind of emulates object-oriented programming. So we'll do self.mesh colon play animation idle. That's the name of the animation. And put it at 1, and then we'll make sure.
Let's speed ahead. All right, goodie.
Okay, now let us adjust this rotation a bit, just to make it look cooler.
Okay.
Rotation.
Rotation time.
Mesh, and we want to base it on our y velocity. So when the bird is going up, it will kind of rotate upwards, and when it's falling, it will rotate downwards. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's just like a little polish I like. So let's get the mesh's current road.
Local mesh rot equal self dot mesh.
When you use get rotation, that will get you your local rotation. If you put get world, that'll do it in world space. In this case, we just want to know its local rotation, because we want to rotate up or down just relative to its root component.
Crispy.
Or root node.
Launch date 3DS adopter. Quite the title. I got into it long after EOL.
Okay,
really wanted to play H3 and Odyssey series and decided to go with Nexus as my first entry.
How pitched should it be? Should it be
fair play?
Up or down? And then I'm going to...
Alright, let me catch tutorial local pitch alpha equals math dot clamp. I hope I didn't... I'm not very good at multitasking, so I gotta be careful.
Velocity.y
Self dot velocity dot y.
Some number. And you have to play around this basically to see, to get it to rotate how you want.
Alright, brilliant.
Offset a little bit like...
I didn't pay attention to what these parameters are.
25.
Yeah. Math clamp. All right, it's a clamp. Okay, so that's
Oh,
minimum,
it's
maximum,
there's a
and
log
it's
table
doing it based on the
that you
velocity.
can
All right, got
kind
it.
of find in the C++
Cool,
documentation.
cool.
But if you do log.debug, you can print something out. So you can do like pitch alpha equals.
Let's do
And
that.
using the concatenation
That's
operator,
useful.
you can pass in pitch alpha. That'll print it. So we'll just temporarily do that just to see how to log something. This will actually show up like in the editor too, and like actually like print to the screen.
Fantastic.
And then using our pitch alpha, we want to actually figure out what rotation to set it to. So I'll call it target pitch. And now we have that 0 to 1 alpha value. We can use that to lerp between our lowest and highest pitch. So I already clicked around these values earlier. So I know that
60.0
and I'll
minus
use that pitch alpha to
30.0
determine which of those values it will be closer towards.
pitch alpha.
And then we want to adjust our mesh rotation, the x value of it, which will be the pitch.
Mesh rot.x.
And I'm going to use a function called damp, which
math.damp.
I think there's something similar in Unity, maybe Unreal has something also, I forget. But this is kind of like when there's like a bad trick people do when they use lerp, not the way it's meant to be used, but they use it to smooth animations down. I think it's like if you do, like for instance, like lerp, and then you use like as the source of that lerp, you use the same thing you're setting it to, and then you set to like 30 or whatever, and then you pass in delta time. Or no, you use like some very small values. Anyway, this is a hack. Don't do this. But it lets you smoothly transition a value. But if you use damp, it'll do that so that it is not frame dependent. The biggest thing about using the hack is that you're not factoring the delta time value, and so if you're on a platform that's running slower, it will take longer to update it to that correct value. It's generally not what you want. So you can use the damp function, and so we'll use meshrope.x for the source pitch, and then pass in the target pitch as the destination. We use a small like I forget what I call it exactly, but it's like some constant value. And basically, the lower this is, the longer it will take to reach the destination. If it sets like 0.5, that'll like really fast, it will quickly transition to your destination value. But we will use a slower constant, and then delta time.
That's a pretty slow constant though.
You can reference the Lua C++ bindings if you want to see the.
I'm not sure if I fully understood that. Let's try and figure this out. Okay. Mesh rotation, so I'll let you focus. See you next time. All right, take care, Mr. Fong. All right, mesh rotation, self.mesh, get rotation. Okay, that makes sense. It's pretty much like what we've done before, local. Pitch alpha. Why is he calling it a pitch alpha? Weird. All right, math.clamp. Okay, so there's the math thing that we can reference to do mathematical things like clamp. Okay, brilliant, that makes sense. Okay, and I know how a clamp works. You give it a value and it makes it something between this and this. And yeah, because otherwise the bud's just going to rotate and do like ridiculous flips with the right velocity. Okay, this is just log.debug, so that's like print in Godot and other things. Local target pitch equals match. Wait, hang on a sec. Isn't that supposed to be math? Yeah, that's supposed to be math. Because gosh. All right, there we are. Lup. Okay. Linear interpolation. 60. Pitch alpha. All right, so this is the hard value for going up and down. And this is just trying to smooth it out a bit. So target pitch mesh rot.x equals math.damp. Damp. Okay, I wish I understood what damp means. Is a damp something I can generally understand? If I look it up, can I figure out what that means exactly? Function. Let's see if we can get something. Smooth damp or tween algorithm. Because this might be something worth knowing about since I'm quite the animation enthusiast. Okay, dunno. It might be an Octave thing. And there's no documentation. Oh boy, so I gotta go into the source code. And I wasn't paying too much attention to where he was going to find that stuff. Alright, Lua socket. Bullet. Can I just do a search? Okay, 3D node. No, I can't find it. Brilliant. Maybe it's somewhere else, and I don't know where. Assets config. Alright. Okay, I'm just going to ignore that for now and just go with that. I'll worry about damp later, or should I? I'm just going to go back a little bit.
0 to 1 alpha. Y would be yaw, Z would be roll.
I'm just going to speed it up so I can get
And
through this a little fast.
Damp. Which
Damp.
I think something similar in Unity, maybe Unreal something also, I forget. But this is kind of like when there's like a bad trick people do when they use lerp, not the way it's meant to be used, but they use it to smooth animations down. I think it's like if you do, like for instance, like lerp, and then you use like as a source of that lerp.
Okay, bad luck.
But it lets you smoothly transition a value. But if you use damp, it'll do that. So that is not frame dependent. The biggest thing about using the hack is that you're not factoring the delta time value, and so if you're on a platform that's running slower, it will take longer to update it to that correct value. It's generally not what you want. So you can use the damp function, and so we'll use measure.x for the source pitch, and then pass in the target pitch as the destination. We use a small I forget what I call it exactly, but it's like some constant value. And basically, the lower this is, the longer it will take to reach the destination. If you set to like 0.5, that like really fast, it will quickly transition to your destination value. But we will use a slower constant, and then delta time needs to be passed in as the last parameter. You can reference the Lua C++ bindings if you want to see the parameters for that, but that's how you do it. And then now we figure out this new pitch rotation. You want to just set the mesh to that new rotation measure.
So that's not mesh set rotation.
Not well enough, but this is just adding the rotation to the bird.
So yeah, I think it goes without saying that's this thing needs documentation. It also needs documentation. It would be nice to have documentation for functions and arguments. How about hints to, so for example, it's showing like the arguments and what they're supposed to be in the actual editor, in the code editor. I'm not sure how you can do that exactly, but you know, it's a pretty common thing, so there's got to be a way to figure it out.
And I guess we can see if this worked.
Okay, hang on. Let's go back a little bit. You did that pretty quickly. Let me make sure we apply that last line. Self mesh set rotation mesh rot. Brilliant. Okay, so grab it, change it, put it back. Fantastic. Okay. All right, wonderful. It's a bit sensitive, but yeah. Like he goes up and then he goes into the downward position pretty quickly right there. But yeah, we can see the number in the top left there. That's pretty good. All right, fantastic. I'm going to tweak that real quick and let the tutorial play for a bit more.
Okay, I see how it's...
Let's make it... Let's try 30.
Oh, yeah. We're logging the pitch alpha, so... Okay. Cool. I'll get rid of that debug statement.
And now it's kind of staying in the downward
position.
We have control
of bird now. That is great. Okay, now let's maybe consider what happens when the bird goes too high or too low. When the bird drops too low, it should be game over essentially. And if it goes too high, I feel like we should probably like stop it from going any higher. That's just a design decision though. That part's not necessary. Let's go for toBird.lua. And I think we want to add some variables to this.
Oh, he's doing a spin.
I think we want to keep track of birds live.
That's not right.
It is. We also want to keep track of if you can control the bird, because when the game first starts, the bird is...
Alright, I gotta add some new variables, huh?
Just stationary and it's waiting for the user to begin play. So I'll call it control enabled. And we'll just default it to false because when we first start the game, you know, it's going to be just sitting there. And then also let's just define a y value, which is like the lowest limit that you can hit before you die. And also a ceiling value, which is the point where we want to clamp your position. And so to use this control enabled variable...
Whoa, hang on 1 second. How'd that happen? Oh, it's trying to stop doing that. Oh my god, I'm going to need to figure out how to turn it off. That's so annoying. Can I turn off the blooming thing? That's annoying. I'm used to doing control space to open up the drop down, not having it automatically interrupt me. It's like I'm going to type false, and then it's like, and I just habitually press enter when I see a drop down. And it's like, nah, now it's giving me flap speed Y where I'm trying to type false. Because I'd rather be pressing control and space instead of escape all the time. Next editor. We support allow variable fonts, allow variable line height, auto closing brackets, auto indent on paste string. I don't know. This could take a while. Maybe I shouldn't bother. I should just bear with it for now. Alright, fine. Self.control enabled, false. Okay, have I got all that? Yep, okay, self.y floor equals minus 10.0. Y ceiling equals 1. Okay, brilliant. Is that going to be a float as well? Oh, that's
and
10. All
so
right.
to use this control enabled variable, let's just go to tick, and if we don't control the bird, then we're just going to early out and return. So it's not even going to process gravity or velocity or key inputs or anything.
All right, not. So you just type not. You can't. Can you not do a thingamabob or whatever? Let's just go with it. Control enabled. Then return. Okay, brilliant. The good old-fashioned way. Lower end expected. All right. Yeah. And okay. Rising bird sphere, brilliant.
And then to handle the ceiling when we're updating position, we want to clamp its y position. So let's do new pose.y. I'm going to use a Lua built in here, math.min, new pose.y, self.y ceiling. So it's going to take the minimum of its y position and that ceiling. So if it goes beyond ceiling, we'll just set the minimum of this, which is y ceiling. Okay.
All right, new pose, brilliant. Let's go. Math.min. He's using lowercase. Does that matter? I don't know. I'm assuming he meant to make it a capital and he's going to update it in a bit. New pose.y. Self.y ceiling. Okay, brilliant. Is that correct? Min new self.y ceiling.
And then also,
aren't we going to clamp it?
We just want to kill the bird, so or game over essentially. So we'll do if new pose.y is less than or equal to self.y floor. Then we want to kill the bird. So I'm going to call self.kill. So we need to implement a function called kill to handle when this to handle what to do.
Oh yeah, of course, because if you go to the bottom, you're just going to die. All right, brilliant. Okay. Can I do the brackets thing? I can. Okay, fantastic. Then self dot colon kill. So we're going to make a kill function, presumably. And
if you die. And we can add it, not put below stop function, third kill. Well, when we die, we want to set alive to false, disable control. And also, I think we want to just pause the animation. So if we do self.mesh, which we already got up in start, we found that node. We'll do self.mesh and then set animation paused to true. You can find that in the skeletal mesh.
All right, slow down, buddy. I've sped you up. I'm going to slow you down a bit now. Set animation paused. I think this is right, though. I just pause play it when need be. There we go. Set animation paused. Okay. So I assume that's a built-in thing, and it'll hang on. Error lower than end expected. Okay, yeah. This is definitely the thing that I'm not used to doing. Okay, but that's all good.
Lua, skeletal mesh 3D underscore Lua.cbd file.
Yeah, Ingado, you just
so we'll
use white space to do everything. But yeah, this is fine. It's like semicolons in C++, huh?
Control enabled. So I'm thinking the game's going to take place in three parts. Basically, there's the waiting phase, which is the first phase, where the bird's just idling there, not moving at all. As soon as the player touches the screen or hits the A button, then it transitions to the playing state, and then once you die, you're in the game over state. So when we reset, we want to put it back into the...
No, come on!
So self.control.
This drop down is annoying the crap out of me. I press enter to go to the next line. It's like, oh, I'm going to use the drop down thing and go to the thing. Shut up, go away. I've got to press escape all the blue in time just to get... Because I just want to type the damn thing. All right. Okay, I'm going to look this up now. Because I'm definitely annoyed by it. Okay. All right, let's look it up. So Visual Studio Code turn off drop down menu. Or make it to a button press. Okay, file preferences settings, text editor suggestions, and change accept suggestions on enter to off. And that turned it off for me. Drop down and use the vehicle. Go to quick suggestion just below and everything off. Alright, fine. Let's just go file. I think I was there. But yeah, if we go to preferences, settings, text editor, suggestions. This should be acceptable on commit characters. For example, in JavaScript, semicolon can be a commit character that accepts suggestion. Enter. No, please don't. This into tab helps avoid ambiguity between inserting new lines or accepting suggestions. Whether showing suggestions will shift the code to make space inline. Inline suggestion, edits, render side by side. Okay, will this work now? But I want to have a button for manually opening up suggestions. To be fair, I'm probably not going to use them since I don't know anything about this language, Lua, very much. So, I know it'll probably be in like keyboard shortcuts or something to find that. Selection mode. All right, let's close that and let's try typing something. Okay. Set. Nope. Why are you doing that? Set. Please. Why are you doing that? I just turned you off, or I tried to anyways. Please go away. I am so used to not having suggestions. Suggestion mode. Never. What was that about? Okay, let's go back to bird. I can just leave the settings open there. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we gotta do... No! What is that? Stop opening suggestions. Stop. How do I turn it off? Okay. If I uncheck this, will it work now? Alright. No, that is not... It's not even giving me the right thing. Set world position. And it's fuzzy as well. Look at that. Set or tier. What? That's stupid. What? Who's designing these programs? They're designed for people who can't type. They're blimmin' illiterate. Okay, quick suggestions, off. Alright, I'm looking at more guides. Okay. Alright, fantastic. Alright, can I do that now? Set rotation. Brilliant. Okay, it's good now. Wonderful. Mesh. Now I can just type. Now I can just type. Alright, hang on. There's an error. Okay, Lua 79. Whoa, hang on. Okay, attempts to index a nil value global bird. Okay, I seem to have made a little oopsie somewhere. Okay, what line was that? 79, did you say? Bird. Bird with a U. Brilliant. Bird with a U. That's fantastic. Alright, okay, back to good. Let's keep going.
You also want to put this bird back to where its position was, or basically its starting position. So.
Oh man, he types fast.
We moved it over a little bit on the axis. We moved over
local
to the left. So we want to make sure
reset
that's
pause.
where it is.
Well, I have sped them up as well. So get
this
position.
is relative to the ruler now. So we're not using get world position, but that's okay. It's going to be we're stealing relatives here. But we want spot position to be reset to 0. Oh, set position.
Oh yeah, I can press enter and it goes to the next line. Brilliant.
Also, we want to straighten out the mesh so that's facing forward again. It's not like tilted up or down. So reset mesh rotation. Clear out the pitch. Nice. And lastly, we need to resume animation. So resume cycle animation.
Alright, I am thinking, is there not a way to just have functions that directly change these things? Because it's like, okay, you get the rotation, and then you set it back with functions. Is there not a way to just do self.mesh.rotation.x equals this number and it just sets it? And you can just use that to call it as well. So I'm not sure how possible that is with the way this all works, but that would be cool. Directly setting rotation, scale, position, etc. in code instead of getting and setting with functions. Is that possible? Because to me that would be simpler. Maybe there's a reason you shouldn't do that, but I don't know. Okay, there we are. Made my little note. Let's go again. Where are we again? Yeah, you see, I'm looking at just the tutorial, and I'm annoyed by even his drop down because it's getting in the way of the other code. Oh man. All right, I gotta start making Godot tutorials someday, because I know at least my one isn't gonna get in the way, and no one's gonna be annoyed by me typing too slowly. Hopefully, I want to make my tutorials if I make them a bit on the fast. Okay, reset rotation. Okay, so I'm still on the rotation. Brilliant. Okay, mesh rot. Self mesh get rotation. Brilliant. And then we get mesh rot.x equals 0.0. Self dot mesh set rotation mesh rot. Brilliant. Resume animation self dot mesh. So we're calling the mesh, and then we're giving it a function animation pause. All right.
Previously we paused it, so just set animation pause to, or set animation pause to false. And
all right. Fantastic.
yeah, make sure it's playing the idle animation.
No. Self dot mesh.
And if it's playing like idle, this will animation that same animation. It's not gonna like play two different animations. It'll anything with the same name. It will.
All right, I can just copy and paste this now from where we did it before.
Okay, I think that part's good. So we do mark when the bird is alive and dead, and control enabled and disabled and whatnot. So now I think we should create another script to manage the game state, like a higher level of kind of like what I was talking about, where we have three different states. So I'll create something called game state Lua. Actually, let me name this game.lua. But we do want to create that concept of the game state. So kind of create like an enumeration here, and we'll make the first state the waiting state, then the playing state with the next one. And
oh, brilliant! I just added a new Lua file and it broke it at source. Whoopsie. Okay. All right. Did I save everything? Whatever. Let's just start it over again and hope it works. It should save at least the files I've been working on, though. Okay. Open project, flap. Okay. Open scene. Alright, and once again, the bird is not displaying its texture. Why? Why are you not displaying your texture properly? m.bird. 3D, primitive, mesh, default animation, animation speed. So is the animation built into the SK birds thing? Alright, cool. Material override. Oh, geez. Okay, cool, I can do this. What is going on? It's being weird. Brilliant. Okay, well that did nothing. That did nothing whatsoever. Properties. Yeah, and this is just black back to being t.y again. Why? I've done this like a bunch of times. What? Come on. t_bird. Save. t_bird. Okay, is there a... It should be the lowercase, no? Lowercase. The actual name of the file is lowercase t, and it keeps correcting it to being uppercase. Is that the problem? Is that why this texture is not behaving itself? All right, because it seems to collect it now, even though it's set to capital T, but it's listed lowercase t. So there's a weird kind of inconsistency with case sensitivity here. Oh, geez. Okay, how's the stream going? We've been going for about an hour. We're approaching the 1 hour mark in the tutorial. I wish I could do this a bit faster, but you know, you have a 2.5 hour tutorial and it ends up taking like 5-6 hours. This is why you really got to dedicate a day to something like this. It's a big happening, it is. Yeah. So if I go and if I duplicate this and just make it okay, so now we've got 2 T-birds, and we set that to T-bird with the capital. We go save. Okay, and now I'm going to just reload the project, see if it works again. Okay, and then we go and open the scene. Okay, so the bird still has a blooming problem with its material, huh? Is materials like weirdly case sensitive too? Okay, the T-bird thing is gone now. Like, I made a duplicate of it and it didn't work. So let's make it capital. Maybe it has to be capital. All right, it's crashed now. Okay, debug editor Octave file Visual Studio includes listen line 147 expression cannot dereference end list iterator. Session failure. Please press retry. Okay, I'm gonna take a little screenshot of this real quick and explain the situation to the lads. Fantastic. Okay, let's go into my screenshots folder. Brilliant. All right. Yeah. Every time I load project, the birds texture reset, I kind of thought now it might be related to the, what's it called? Related to the file names. I tend to use lowercase, while it seems the engine and tutorial want uppercase. So I duplicated the texture, and that didn't persist on a reload of the project. I tried renaming it and got this crash. Yeah. End of the world, but worth investigating / clarifying. Okay. Very well. Okay, I've been distracted by something. Let's take a look. Alright, crispy. Yeah, our guy's a bit quiet, it seems. Alright, anyways, back to the tutorial. Okay, and we got a crash, so let's just... Unhandled exception, an octave and invalid parameter was passed. Yeah, software development, man. What a pain. I'm not sure if I'm missing out or I'm dodging a bullet by not being a software developer. I mean, games development is kind of the same thing, in a way, sort of, kind of. And because it keeps crashing every single time it's just I end up having to reopen everything. Okay, properties, open scene. This damned bird, it just doesn't want to have a texture. It really doesn't want to have a texture, does it? properties. Am I going to rename this again? It's not technically... Yep, same exact issue. I'm just going to go into the File Explorer and rename it so that next time it loads, it just loads with the right thing. And maybe the capital letter is the point of contention. Like, it just really, really wants it to be a capital letter, and it refuses to do anything less. So I'm going to make both the material and the texture capital letters in the File Explorer. The scene seems to be fine with lowercase, so I'm not really sure what that's about. Okay, let's give this another run. Okay, I like how fast it loads as well. I'm going to quickly open this. Okay, fantastic. Make it a bit bigger. And we'll see if we can get the birds, blooming textures to behave themselves now. Alright, so we got mesh. And we got, what for? SK birds, material. Yeah, let's use this as the material. No, and it just works now. Fantastic. And then we go to save it. And if we go to properties here, okay, texture is still in red, but the T-bird thing seems to work. So maybe it is like a lowercase capital letter thing. That's just kind of like a weird eccentricity of the developer or whatever. Alright, let's keep going.
Game.lua. But we do want to create that concept of the game state. So we'll kind of create like an enumeration here. And we'll make the first state the waiting state.
Okay, what is this? Generate code. Go away. Don't show again, please. How am I supposed to learn programming if you're constantly interrupting me? For goodness sake.
Then the playing state for the next one, and finished. We're game over.
Hey, we're gonna make your work so easy that you can't even do it anymore. Get out of the way.
And let's give it a create.
An enumeration. All right, brilliant. Finish.
Well, it's state for sure. Just define those states, so we want to default to the waiting state. And then also we want to keep track of the score too, so let's just do self.score equals 0. That makes sense. We'll add a start function. And the game probably needs to keep track of the bird, so let's give it self.bird. It's a member variable, and we can search for the bird, which
I think that's what it is. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I could use some clarification later.
I might put it on that that's the default scene. But
yeah,
that's not what we can do. We can do self.
First time doing stuff, huh?
A reference to the world that this node is, or the script is being run in. And now you can invoke any of the world functions, so you can do find node.
Waiting, brilliant. Yeah, that's the enumeration.
And hopefully find
self.state, self.score, brilliant.
If you try invoking a function on a nil value, so if self.world colon find node didn't find a bird, this will be nil, and you'll run into an error later. If you want to, you could like check if not bird, or if bird equals nil, then can't find bird. Okay, so we don't hit that. And then let's make a reset function like we did in bird. Yeah, let me make a function game reset.
Okay. Finds node bird. All right. Now we gotta find the node bird by name. Brilliant. Okay. If bird equals nil, I like birds. Can't find bird. There's no bird. Where's the bird? I can't find the bird. Where's the bird? Can't find it. There's no bird anywhere. Can't find a single bird anywhere. Okay, mesh, bird. Okay, bird. I've done the capital there. Brilliant. So, capital B it is. But yeah, I think if there's any eccentricities in the editor where you can't use a lowercase, probably want to allow people to choose to use that, unless there's something in Lua that requires it or something. It's like a necessary convention. which, I can adjust, but I like my lowercase stuff. I know it's just a bit cuter, I guess. Okay, if bird, then log find bird end. And what else? Self reset. Okay, wait. So self reset. Shouldn't it be self.bird.reset? Nah, I don't think that's what it's trying to do. There's going to be a reset for the game itself.
Reset.
Yeah, there we are.
So
Function.
what's reset going to do? Well, it's going to set a state back to state waiting. And I guess we can also call reset on our bird, because we called killed when it fell below the floor y value. So when the game resets, we want to reset the bird too. So let's call that there. And we have to handle like transitioning between the game states. So let's add a tick function so we can handle input, for instance. Let's see
whoa! Hang on, like he's adding another function on top of the function that I've just been trying to copy. So it's like I can't see it now. It's off screen. Reset. Okay, and it resets the bird as well. Okay, brilliant. So it keeps track of the bird. Brilliant. That's good. I like that. That's a very me way of programming, where you use a global thing to get the small thing that's important.
Handle input, for instance. Let's see if the player presses a key. So actually, you could probably make a utility function for this, but I'm just going to copy this like a sneaky programmer. This is bad sneaky programmer.
All right, so he's trying to grab the input from the bird. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, it'll be good to have like inputs and stuff in its own like if statements with enums and all sorts, and you just track that. Oh, hey, look, it's the pallid crest. Hey, Dino. All right, okay. I hadn't checked chat in a while. How does exporting to old consoles work actually? I mean, in layman's terms, it's magic the same way any other code works, basically. But yeah, it's just, it's just a bunch of code, just like any other computer. It's just the software is a bit different, the architecture is a bit different, the hardware is a bit different, so the expectations are all just a bit different in general. So yeah, I'm hoping this will turn into something, but I'll have to see. So I'm just chipping away, hoping this will turn into something crispy. Yeah, catch up on Pallid on. Wait, that's the Pallid archive. Goodness me, quite the face, just staring right at me. Yeah, I saw a picture the other day of what Kingdom Hearts. It's like, which one was better, the Kingdom Hearts 1 or the Kingdom Hearts 2? And it was talking about like some arena or something. But something I noticed was the UI and the picture of Sora, like in the first game, he's like off to the side a little bit and he's got a nice grin. The second game, it seems like he's just straight dead on and it's a little bit like colder looking. So yeah, the first one was definitely better in my opinion. Yeah, it's more like, the only Kingdom Hearts game I've actually played is the 3DS Dream Drop Distance one. And that was quite fun. I'm not sure if I beat it actually. I remember I got pretty close to the end, but I can't remember if I beat it. I may have to revisit it at some stage. So, yeah. Okay, Lua, let's give this a go. What am I doing? That's right. I was gonna grab these these inputs right here and nick it and give it to the game. So again, very simple programming. I've never used Lua before. It's my first time. I'm pretty sure. So okay, game tick. That's where we want to put it. There we are. Wonderful. Fantastic. The first Kingdom Hearts I liked more due to simplicity. Yeah, I may have to go and revisit the old ones, but I get the impression that the story got so complex and stuff that it's went a bit mad. It went a little bit mad. So I don't know if I'm necessarily going to follow the story, but the gameplay should be fun. I wonder what levels they go to, because it's like they take two anime lads and they put them in Disney World or something. It's like a weird crossover, but it works and people like it, so... Yeah, I remember I heard at the news at some point that like the creator was so confused about his own story that he was watching video essays. I don't know, it might be a woman who wrote it, but I don't remember. I don't know who made Kingdom Hearts, but the point is the creator was so confused by the story watching video essays on YouTube. So here's what happens in Kingdom Hearts, because yeah, it's a blimmin' mess. All right, all right. Let's go back to tutorial. Okay, local pressed. Okay, so he's making a local variable called pressed, and he's doing it with this input thingamabob. Fantastic. Okay, so that should give us a true or false, but wait on whether the input is pressed. Wonderful.
And
Mouse left.
you can put it all on the line, but I think this works. Yeah, we want to see basically if the player press the button. And if the current state is the waiting state, and we want to do something otherwise, then that means we're probably in
the game state dot waiting. Then
else if we are in.
Yeah, to be clear, I don't think Lua is the programming language officially on GameCube and 3DS and stuff. I'm pretty sure those all use C++, but for whatever reason, this game engine uses Lua, and it works somehow. I guess it all ends up as what's it called? I guess it all ends up as machine code at the end, anyways. So as long as it works and it doesn't consume too much memory, then it should be fine. So that would be my assumption, that Lua is quite efficient. So yeah, fantastic. After signing the texture, shouldn't be an issue. I've done this like 5+ times. I've done this like 5+ times. So yeah. Alright, so we'll have to see what that's about. Okay, Wait, where was I? Okay, anyways, self start state, game state, waiting, then alright, so he's basically just making a bunch of if statements. Brilliant. I've typed parse here. Oh, such a Godot habit, isn't it? And this is an else if. In Godot, they think they're so smart doing elif. Yeah. So it's just different habits, different syntaxes, playing. All right, so we got our basic if statements for all the different modes. Else if self.state equals game state dot, and that will be finished, I would assume. So let's just keep going. Yeah. And then there's the then thing.
Then we want to handle everything. So basically, I'm just creating a little state machine here for these 3 states. And I'm waiting if the player pressed anything. Then we want to switch our state to the playing state. Oh man, I'm not typing all day. And we also want to give bird control. So we had that variable called control.
Wonderful.
Control enabled. We want to set that to true. Okay, if we're in the playing state, well, we don't want to handle the press really because the bird's already handling the press. And that's just the normal gameplay.
Wonderful. So you can set variables directly to the bird. Brilliant. Fantastic.
Because we are recording that now, so we'll do self that. And by the way, there's tons of ways you can set this up, and maybe my brain thinks a little weirdly. But there's totally different ways you could do this logic. You can honestly put all this inside the bird.lua. For me, I just kind of like I like to separate out like the game state from the.
It's not self bird alive.
Or the player pawn, whatever you call it. But we're just gonna check the bird's dead. So if the bird's not alive, well then we want to transition to the finish state. We'll just create a function like kind of reset for finish.
All right.
Yeah, put it right here.
Okay, I'm not sure what could be causing that then, but yeah. Fresh mesh and create a new texture material and see if the same problem happens. Take a look at it if you don't mind zipping over a folder up, sending it to me. I exited the program and renamed the texture and material to start with T and M, and now it seems to work. Seems to work. So I'll keep on going. Going for now. Yeah, I'm not sure if I did this from scratch, it would necessarily do the same thing, but this does seem to be a weird preference for capitals, but I don't know. Again, I don't know how the code works, so I'm just kind of guessing. So yeah, I'd like to get this done today. That'll be pretty good. Alright, self state, game waiting, bird alive. Then self finish. Ba -ba 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 -ba. If the bird is dead, then self finish. Alright. This is the finish function, is there? Brilliant.
Finish. Function. And we'll set state to finish here.
Finish? I thought you meant Dutch.
Bring up that, like a widget that shows the score, shows like the high score. I think that's actually it, but we'll have to do that. So I'll leave it blank for now. But
wonderful. We're going to learn how to do UI stuff as well. Brilliant.
Okay, so that happens to finish. And then if we're in the finish state, and the button is pressed.
Let's go back a little bit.
And then if we're in the finish state, and the button is pressed, then we want to reset back to our original state, which will go to a reset function here, set state to waiting, and also call reset on the bird.
Okay, let's go back to that. Okay. Fantastic. So there's got to be a little thing here. If pressed, then do this. These ends, ifs and these ends as well. Yeah, that's right. Right. End. Fantastic. End. Yeah. Wonderful. So let's do an end there. It'd be cool if this code editor would automatically add an end whenever I open a function or an if statement, but I don't know. Maybe something. If I end up using Lua a lot, maybe it would be worth it. Right, finished. I thought you meant Dutch. Okay, fantastic. Self, finish, reset. Alright, what's next?
State, which will go to a reset function here, set state to waiting, and also call reset on the bird. Okay.
Call reset on the bird, brilliant.
Well,
yeah, okay.
We can run the game and see if the bird falls too far, if he just like stops. So I'll hit Alt R to reload all scripts, Alt P to play. Okay, cool. He's just flying here. He's in the standby state, and as soon as I click, nothing happens. But that's because I did not add the game.lua script. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna add it to the top level node.
Ah, yeah, good point. All right, fantastic. So yeah, that's nice and easy. You just add the code to the thing itself. Fantastic. Game.lua. Failed to connect. Is it with a capital? Class has not been loaded. Couldn't load script file game. Okay, end expected function line 25. Okay. Line 25. Okay, yeah, there's no ends for this. There's an end for this, for all this other stuff. Good God, there's a lot of ends. Okay, so that's ends for the if statement. To all the, I assume the else ifs don't need subsequent ends for each of them. We just need the ends for those if statements. Okay, fantastic. Parenting games, no, loading script game. Okay, fantastic. Just solving the typo seems to have made it work. So let's do Control S and continue the tutorial.
Okay, there we go. Uh-oh, I couldn't find bird. Did you see that? Oh, wait, it looks like I did because I reset the bird and everything. Oh, you know what? Because I did if bird equals nil, but it's self.bird. So
self.bird. All right. Okay. I guess Lua just really likes using self, huh? It likes to be nice and discreet with this self stuff. But yeah. So there's a few things I think are a bit strange, but I think you know, every programming language has its eccentricities.
Here was checking just a global name bird. So like by default, by default if you don't put just like not self in front of it, then it's gonna check for a global. So make sure you put self if you're dealing with a member variable. And if I reload the script, okay, there we go. We didn't get that warning that time. Okay, cool.
All right, let me try now. Make sure everything's working. Okay. Control R, Control S, and let's play it. Lua error bird, Lua 49 attempts to call a nil value, min. Alright, Well, that's quite something. Okay, I remember Alt P just vaguely. Bird lure 49. Let's take a little look. Math min. Alright. I wasn't sure about this. I remember he put math with the lowercase m there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to... I'm going to not timestamp all the way around here. I've got the finished project. I'm going to just take a look at that and see what that looks like. Scripts, birds.lua. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that's weird. Math is underscore there. Is a lowercase, but then it's capital in other places. Okay, weird. So if I make this a lowercase, will it just magically work? Okay, Control R, S, play. Okay, for some reason... Oh, there we are. We got a barrel rolling bird. I may wanna... He's quite the tumbling chicken he is. I may wanna sort that out. I thought I fixed that, but yeah. Let's head on back in and make the bird behave itself a bit more. Yeah, I thought I changed this. Weird. Let's change a few values. Control R, S, and play. All right, crispy, and then we get game over. Nice. Reset. Okay, fantastic. All right, looks like that's the maximum height we can take the birds to. So I might want to increase the ceiling and the floor. So if we set the floor to 13 and we set the ceiling to 16, something like that. Okay, RS play. Okay, we may want to make it go even higher than that. Okay, game over. Okay, that's about right. I think I will make the floor 15 and I'll make the ceiling 20. Let's do that. Okay, reload, save, play. Let's go. Okay, there we are. That's about right. And then he just goes barely off screen. That's good. There we go. We've got a handsome budgery chicken. Wonderful. Alright, let's back actually the tutorial.
We want to get pipes scrolling across. Those are the obstacles. So,
see, we've passed the 1 hour mark. Brilliant. Okay. I am less than halfway through the tutorial, but
let's create the script first, and then we'll create the scenes for it.
Oh boy, I'm gonna be honest. I kind of need to take a break. I'm blimmin' exhausted, so I'm gonna just walk out, take a drink, do a few things, and then I'll be back. So yeah. Alright, I've returned. I had to get the emergency apple juice. So hopefully that'll keep me going. I've completely forgotten I have a cup of tea right here. I neglected it. Fix it from that. Alright, fantastic. I feel that, honestly. Alright, yeah, thanks, Palladium. I'm not sure exactly what that was in response to, but yeah. Maybe it was in response to me being tired. All right, cool. Let's I'm gonna slow down. Should I? I'm playing this duel at double speed, and I'm just barely chipping away at that. Oh, man. I'm telling you, this is it's like learning video games development for the first time. New engine, new programming language, new software, and hoping for the best. So it's tricky stuff, and no less a games engine that doesn't have documentation, etc. And I'm not complaining, but you know, I have realistic expectations of this thing right here. But yeah, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I chose on my own free will to approach myself. So let's give it a go. Yeah, I don't know. It's making a game engine in and of itself is quite a big challenge. So you know, yeah, I'm not sure what the guy's plans are. If he's gonna get a team and build something, or if this is kind of just like his pet project, just for funsies, and he kind of wants to keep it small. I don't know, because I'm a bit two minds about that in my personal life. Gotta have the good nibbles. Alright, fantastic. Let's go.
I'm gonna create a pipe scroller Lua class. Pipe scroller.
Brilliant. Okay, back to coding. Script.
Okay. And so I think this is gonna manage several different pipes and like move them all towards the left side of the screen. Once the pipe gets like far beyond the left side of the screen, then we just take it and place it back on the far right side and maybe like re-randomize where the gap is in the pipe. That's my plan anyway. Okay, let's do it. Pipe scroller equals an empty table. By the way, you could define like some meta variables in here, but there's like a caveat with like if you're creating vectors, you have to be careful that you're not manipulating the parent class's vector. Basically, I just recommend always initializing your function or initializing your member variables in the create function.
I'm not sure what he means by meta
So
variables. Does he mean export variables? Is it like that, or is it something else? Don't know. We'll have to find out later.
How about a pipe spacing? So how much space is in between each set of pipes? These are numbers I played around with earlier, so you know you might have to play around with them yourself, or you can experiment yourself. You can experiment with these values. Pipe gap is the space in between, like the top and bottom of the pipe, or the lower pipe and the upper pipe. We'll make num pipes, which is like the number of pipes we want to keep track of in this array of pipes that are going to be scrolling to the left. So I think 5 is a good number. And then we want to set a variable for like that minimum x point. Like once the pipes get far enough to past this x value, then we want to reset them. So I'll set that to like -45, which is probably enough space so that we don't see pipes teleporting. And then I'll create a variable for like, how much variation we want to give them, like an up and down. And I'll set it to 12. Why not? Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to create a table to store all of the pipe nodes that we're going to be maintaining and scrolling. Okay, cool.
Brilliant arrays.
On start then.
Looks like a dictionary, but yeah.
I think we just want to spawn them programmatically here, the pipes that is. So we don't have it yet, but we're gonna want to spawn a pipe scene. So first thing to do if you're gonna spawn a scene programmatically in Lua is you can get a reference to that scene. So if you do local pipe scene equals load asset sc pipe, which does not exist yet, we have to create this, and it will hopefully load the scene. By the way, this load asset is one of the few globals that Octave exposes as far as Lua. So yeah, it's not obvious, but load asset is something that you kind of do frequently. I think otherwise it would be like asset manager.load asset. I think that works fine too. But just to make things simple and shorter, you can also just use load asset.
Pipe scene. All right, fantastic. Load asset. Okay, create start. All right. So create variable start is when you load the asset. Is there a reason why you load assets in start and not create? I need to look that up. The anchor system for widgets. Do the anchor itself. All right, that guy's talking about UI. Fantastic. All right. Pipe scene. I gotta make sure I understand what I'm doing. Model is. Do I have the pipe somewhere already? Well, if it's SC, then presumably we're going to be making this a bit later. We'll go back into the editor in a second and make it. So
okay,
yeah.
So we have a reference to the scene. If you load an asset, by the way, it will cause like a hiccup. So you generally want to do these on start. or like when you're transitioning, basically whenever you can take a pause, or when you're loading a scene. Yeah, basically it can freeze. There's an async load. I think it's called async load asset, which is a little more advanced. That's you can load something while you're running and not hiccup. But that's advanced stuff. So we have our pipe scene, and now we want to instantiate the pipe, or like 5 sets of pipes. So we'll do a for loop, and we'll iterate from 1 to the num pipes that we want to create, which was 5. And
I need to learn this in other ways.
Pipe scene instantiate, and that will hopefully create an instance of our pipe, and it'll return that node. And it should play. Oh wait, does this? Oh yeah. So if you do scene colon instantiate, that will instantiate it, but it won't like add it to your scene or anything yet. So what we'll do is we'll add that pipe as a child of this node, and then we also want to insert it into our table of pipes. I guess you could just, if all of your children were pipes, which they probably are going to be, you could just iterate over your children because there's functions to do that. But this just makes it easier. Let's just keep track of our pipes. Table.insert. We're inserting into our pipes table. That's pipe.
Insert self
we'll
pipes
after this, but
pipe. Let me make sure I understand this. All right. So there's a for loop here. Num pipes. Okay, so I equals 0, so number of pipes. Okay. So we start with 1 and self number of pipes. That's the quantity. It's all good. It's all good. It's okay. Big shake. Oh, fantastic. Good stuff. All right. Function, pipe scroller, start. Local pipe scene. All right. So now there's a local variable called pipe scene. It's only pulled at the start. All right. Okay. I think. I'll need to ask some of the guys why to load assets in start instead of create. I think I've written create instead of create there. Oy vey. All right. Lua for loops. I'd like to look up how Lua for loops work just so I understand it correctly. Lua for loops, because that's clearly supposed to be a for loop, but I'm not entirely sure how it works. I'm used to other methods of for loops. Let's give it a look. My internet is so slow. Dropped frames, 600, 700. Okay. I'm dropping a lot of frames at the moment, actually. That's a bit annoying, isn't it? I've dropped 1,000 frames. It's growing rapidly. Like it was so perfect before, but now I'm losing frames. Weird. Okay, it seems to have stopped now. Weird. See, I had a little bit of a fluctuation there. Oh well. Okay, the frame drop seems to have stopped. Okay, intro to for loops. That's Roblox, not Lua. Tutorial library. For init max min value in increment. Okay. So this is like a traditional for loop, is it? I equals 1. And this is the step is executes first and only once. The step allows you to declare and initialize any loop control variables. Next to min max is the maximum and minimum value which the loop continues to execute. It creates a conditional check internally to put between the initial value and the maximum value. Okay, after the body executes, the flow of the control jumps back up to the decrement statement. This statement allows you to update any loop control variables. Alright, so it looks like it's just being fed the self.numpipes. So it's basically just I equal 1, then 5. So I is 1 through 5, I assume. Alright, fine. I'm just going to take that as is. I don't have time to fully get my head around for loops in Lua. Maybe later. You know, I'm just having a little bit of a dabble today. Self.pipes pipe.
Yeah, we'll do that in a function called reset. So I'll go create that function, pipe scroller reset. So reset pipe scroller, this is probably be called, when we go back to the waiting state, we want to make sure that scrolling is disabled. And let's reposition pipes. In the case, when we're first playing the game, it'll be positioned for the first time. So let's just iterate over our pipes again. Get the pipe from our table. And then let's figure out its X and Y position. And by the way, I haven't shown you what the pipe meshes look like, but they are very, very, very long. So they will go past the edges of the screen. And I'm just relying on that so I can move them up and down and make sure that they touch the bottom of the screen. You'll see in a little bit. But for the X position, let's just set it to the index times that pipe spacing variable we created earlier. So pipe spacing. Set to 30.
All right, I'm getting a little bit confuddled. Hang on. Reset for I, self, pipe number. Yeah, I've done that incorrectly. Hang on. Num pipes do, so it's just like before, just 1 through 5. Local pipe equals self pipes.
The index times that pipe spacing variable we created earlier. Pipe spacing.
Pipe spacing.
Okay. And then for the Y, let's set it to a random value because we want to get some variation, right? So math.random.
Oh yeah, this is reset. Okay. Equals math dot rand range. Brilliant. So we're gonna set each one's height to something. Local pipes. Yeah. So teaching instantiation and collision and meshes and textures and everything. So that's all crispy. Alright, I'm gonna see. Alright, I'm not sure if anyone's still here, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep on chipping away. I might be here till midnight, frankly, but it would be nice to have a game at the end of this. That kind of works. And if I feel like it, maybe I'll try doing a little bit more. Okay, great, fantastic. Some pipes. Pipe spacing. Rand range, alright. So it's going through the numbers. Local pipe equals self.pipes.i. So it goes into the array of the pipes that have been instantiated. And then we're setting an X and a Y, and presumably we're going to set the pipe instance to have these values.
All right. A table that holds a bunch of math functions, including random generation. So you can do rand range for a floating point random number between two limits. So we'll do negative self.variation.y and then positive self.variation.y. And now we have the X and Y figured out. Now we'll actually call set position on the pipe. And the Z, we don't really mess with the Z, that's just the in and out. Into the screen, out of the screen. So that should be on the 0 on the Z axis. Okay. So we position them properly, at least their starting positions. But now let's think about actually scrolling them. So we'll create a tick function so we can process this on frame, or every frame.
Wonderful.
And first thing we want to check is the early out, if scrolling is not enabled. So if not self.scroll enabled, then return.
It wants more ends.
Otherwise, we want pipes leftward. So let's iterate once more over all of our pipes.
Let's go back a little bit.
And first thing we want to check is the early out, if scrolling is not enabled. So if not self.scroll enabled, then return.
Yeah, really front loading this he is.
Leftward. So let's iterate once more over all of our pipes.
We're doing a lot of coding up front, and yeah, but I'm experienced enough to deal with it, but it is a bit overwhelming. For tutorials, I think it's definitely a good idea to have a more iterative process where you're hopping in and out, but yeah, sometimes that's also not very not very time efficient. So I get it, this guy was making this in a hurry. He's only got so much time. So yeah, pipe scroller tick. If not self-scroller, then return end. Okay, fantastic. Move pipe left. Okay. Move pipes leftward. Fantastic. For I equals 1, self dot num pipes do local. Alright, there we are.
Sorry, I drink water. Okay. Yes, our pipe. We'll get our pipe from our array of pipes. And we want to figure out its new position. It'll be its current position, then position. We want to adjust its x position, so we do new pose.x minus self.scroll speed. Push it leftward, so that's negative x direction, times delta time. Okay. If pipe moves too far left, we want to put it in the back of the line. /q. Okay. So yeah, if the new pose.x is past that self dot what we call min x that we created earlier, it's like negative 30, negative 45. Yeah, then we want to make its new x. Well, I guess we want to make it. We want to add on to the x value based on the spacing between pipes and the number of pipes. So you pose x plus 7 pipes, that's 5 in this case, and then pipe spacing, which is the space between them. So I should put it behind the very last pipe. Yeah, I think it should work.
Okay, let's pause that. Make sure I can catch up. All right, wrap pipe. I mean, it's not technically wrap pipe back to right side. I'm presumably with a random new height, but yeah, maybe we'll deal with that later. Is this still inside the for loop? It looks like it, yeah. All right, if new pos, it looks like Lua has its if statements inside brackets. All right. Nice in classic dot min x, then new pos dot x equals, have I already done this? New pos dot x, so you can't do a plus equal or minus equal or anything. Okay, fine. Dot num pipes by self dot pipe spacing.
And we also want to like recalculate that variable y position so that we get more randomness. So the y position equals basically what we did earlier. Use my copy and paste skills.
Copy and paste skills, huh? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing, right? We want to set the y to a random one. It's got to be just like when it was reset.
And we figure out the position now. It's either moving farther left or it's reset. So now we call self colon set position new pose.
Okay, fantastic. Got it. And self set position new pos. All right.
Okay. I think that's all we had to do here. But okay, yeah, let's go back over to game. And so just like the bird, we also want to find the pipe scroller. So we're going to have to put the pipe scroller script onto a node in the scene, and we'll find it. So we'll try to call pipe scroller. And then inside the reset function.
Hang on, mate. Slow down.
So just like the bird, we also want to find the pipe scroller. So we're going to have to put the pipe scroller script onto a node in the scene, and we'll find it. So we'll try to call pipe scroller. And then inside the reset function.
Alright, I'm just gonna use capitals for this, but oh man.
Yeah, inside reset, we do want to call self.pipe scroller.
Gotta track all these little details, huh? Okay, game reset. Okay, fantastic. Self.pipe scroller. And then we also reset that. Fantastic. And we've already made a reset function, haven't we? So that should be crispy.
Here in finish, we want to stop scrolling. And then, so that's on reset finish.
Alright, scrolling labels equal false. Brilliant. So
finish, and then also when the game starts. So when we're in the waiting state and the player presses something, we want to start the scrolling.
Alright, okay. Makes sense. If pressed, okay, yeah, so that's the basically the start button effectively. So yeah. Start. Game. Scroll enabled equals true. What? True. There we are. True in a Scotland accent.
That equals true. Okay. And
anything else? Or can we play the game now?
Okay, we'll do one more thing while we're here, while we're working the code. So what we want to happen is when the bird overlaps the pipe,
Collision, that's
so
right.
In your scripts, if you add a begin overlap function, then it will get invoked whenever this node, or actually any other child of this node, overlaps with something else, if it has overlaps enabled. And I'll show how to set that up in just a second. But let's assume
Brilliant collision, here we
bird
go.
overlaps with something. So first we want to just check that this object is actually the bird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is it's like we're not testing the pipe to the wall, so maybe there's gonna be some errors. Oh man. Really front loading this one. But other, if this equals self, then okay, so begin the overlap. Let's see how he does it.
So
I should be able to figure it out.
Because like I said, child nodes overlap will also propagate after begin overlaps up to the parent. But if this is the bird we're dealing with, what we want to do is, there's different ways you can like check the thing that you're overlapping with. In this case, we're just going to keep it simple. We're just going to check the name of it. So we're going to do if other get name, which is a function on all nodes, equals, we'll call it killbox for now. Oops. Then we also want to kill ourselves. The other thing that we're going to be wanting to overlap with, besides the kill boxes on the pipes, is what I'm going to call a point box, but it's the box that measures whether or not you pass through the pipe to give you a point. And you don't have to do overlap for that. There's other ways of handling it. I'm just using overlap, or a box that overlaps enabled, so we can detect when we pass through it. So we'll do if other get name equals point box. Oh yeah, and by the way, you can use either single quotes or double quotes in Lua, which is pretty nice. For now, we'll just do a debug print saying point. And I think that's all the code I want to add for now. So now let's go into editor. I'll hit Alt-R to reload scripts, and then we want to create.
Alright, slow down, buddy.
And so we have control over our bird now. That is great.
Oh gosh, I've just accidentally shoveled it somewhere. Alright. I think we were getting pretty close here. Okay, fantastic.
So we'll do if other get name equals point box.
Point box, brilliant. Then we add score.
Either single quotes or double quotes in Lua, which is pretty nice.
Fantastic. Alright, well, thank goodness for that.
Do a debug print saying point. And I think that's all the code I want to add for now. So now let's go into editor. I'll hit Alt-R to reload scripts, and then we want to create our pipe scene. So let's create a new scene here. Okay, we'll create a half pipe, which is actually just a pipe, but I'm gonna call it half pipe. We'll create another scene for the full pipe, and our pipe spawner will spawn the full pipes like up and the bottom or the top.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, time to make our freaking pipes. Okay, create a new. How do I do this? Import scene. Okay, I've forgotten how to make a scene. Import asset, import scene. Yeah, it's trying to ask me to open one. How do I just create a scene? No, okay, create asset scene. It's right at the bottom. Okay, fantastic. C underscore pipe.
Top and bottom pipes. But the half pipe is going to be one of them. So let's open up the scene.
Okay, open up the half pipe scene. Brilliant. Okay. Let's give it a little look.
I'm going to add a static mesh for the pipe. Basic 3D static mesh. I'll call it this half pipe, right? So I'll call it half pipe. And also I want to import my pipe model. So let's do a new folder in the models folder and do called pipe. Let's go find it. We're in the drive floppy pipe. So I'll import the texture first, which is a very simple texture, I believe. Yeah, look at that. Green and black. Cool, cool, cool. Then if you hit Control M, you can create a material. And I had the texture selected, so it creates a
Alright, let's give it a little while. Okay, so he's making a texture. So we got M background, T background, pipe. So there's pipe related stuff in here. Okay. So there's the material, SM, a static mesh, I assume that's what that is. I do this, there's our pipe. Fantastic.
material.
Works right away.
Hooked up. Otherwise, you can right click to create asset material light. Then also I can select this material and import the static mesh.dae, which is the format that static meshes need to be in. And yeah, we have our pipe now. So because I had the material selected, it's already set up. By the way, you can use mouse 4 and mouse 5 to go back and forth on the properties panel here. So I want to go back to what I was looking at before. So I hit mouse 4, I believe, take it back over to the material. It's pretty cool.
Mouse 4? Good God, mouse 4, what's that supposed to be? Oh man, I don't know. It's like left, right, scroll wheel, and then there's your macro buttons if you have a fancy mouse like I do. But I don't remember the numbers. Okay, mouse 1, mouse 2, mouse 3, mouse 4 must be one of the macro buttons. Well, whatever, it wasn't that useful anyways, so maybe it'll be useful one day.
Just a little aside because it helps me be more productive. But I'm going to click the half pipe and I'm going to assign the static mesh of the pipe to it. Cool. And I'm going to set its position to 0, 0, 0. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to add that kill box. So this is just going to be a box. There is a way, by the way, to add box and sphere and convex hole collision shapes to static meshes. So that, for instance, I could just import that mesh and it would have collision on it. But that's for a different video. Here we're just going to create a child node that has a box. So I'll create a box here and I'm going to rename it to kill box. Okay, great. Now I just need to see how long pipes are. Probably make it longer. But now I'm just going to reposition it so that it's in the middle. We're going to hit numpad 5 to go into orthographic view. And I'm going to scale. Actually, I'll change the extents. Oops, wrong one. I want the y extents. And I want to go 11.5 maybe? Or 10.5. There we go. Now we got pipe with the box. And I want to click on the box. And I want to go into the primitives tab. And I want to enable overlaps. And I think for now, I'll leave the collision group at mask as default. Yeah, that's a little more advanced. I'll just...
I'm trying to scale it on the Y, but it's not working. S, and I hit Y, and it's not doing anything. Weird. Okay, so why is it doing that? Okay, if I do it in the inspector, it seems to be fine. 1, 1. Fantastic. Ah, bless me. Oh, man. All right, I think that's good enough. Let's go.
Just turn overlaps on. And there's a debug visualization for collision mode. So if you hit K on your keyboard while your mouse is in the viewport, it'll show you collision highlighting. So green means overlaps. I think red means collision and blue means physics. And so any combination of those will mean, so like if I turn collision on, it'll become yellow because red is collision. Overlaps is green. If I put physics on too, it'll become white. Anyway, this is a way you can see the collision of objects.
Collision overlaps, cast shadows. There's different kinds of collisions. Is that correct? Okay. Let me just go back, make sure I understand this enough.
I'll just turn overlaps on. And there's a debug visualization for collision mode. So if you hit K on your keyboard while your mouse is in the viewport, it'll show you collision highlighting. So green means overlaps. I think red means collision, and blue means physics. And so any combination of those will mean, so like if I turn collision on, it'll become yellow because red is collision, overlaps is green. If I put physics on too, it'll become white. Anyway, it's just a way you can see the collision of objects in your scene. And also, you can add, like, every mesh can have triangle collision turned on. So there's an option here that says use triangle collision. So if I turn that on, I have to make sure that the mesh has generate triangle collision turned on. Go back here. But if you do, then it can use triangle collision. However, you don't want to be doing this on things that move. You pretty much only want to have triangle collision on static geometry that will never move, rotate, scale, or its parent will never rotate or scale. Otherwise, it's going to be a performance nightmare. But for things like a landscape or like some complex geometry, you can definitely turn on triangle collision. So just a heads up, but we're going to turn that off and go back to properties here. Get rid of that. I'm going to save all these guys, by the way. Shift S to save while your mouse is in the assets panel. And cool, and then I'll hit Control Save on half pipe to save that scene. Okay, now we're going to go back to our scenes and open up half pipe. Sorry, pipe. Okay, so this is going to be a combination of an upper pipe and a bottom pipe. I honestly didn't have to make 2 scenes for this, but just to show you how you can compose one scene out of multiple scenes. So I just want to create a default transform as like the center point of this scene, so I'll call it half pipe. And then I want to instantiate a half pipe. And this will be the bottom pipe, I guess. And I'll duplicate it and call this one top pipe. So yeah, I kind of worked it like that. So I'll set its rotation to 180 on its roll, I guess. I guess I can just leave it like that. Actually, what was our point? Back to the pipe gap. Am I using this? Forget. Oh, I'm not using it. I was planning on using that. I guess I didn't. In that case, we'll just move it. Let's play around with this.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to just do it like this, huh?
Yeah, it's probably too big of a gap. But for now, it's fine. No,
whatever, we'll have to play the actual game to figure out what the right gap is, huh? Better to have it a bit wider.
And then the bottom pipe, top pipe, and now we need that point box I was talking about. So let's create a new box. Box. And it's very important we call it point box, just like kill box is called kill box, because we're testing the name to figure out what to do when we overlap. This guy also needs overlaps enabled. And then I just need to adjust its extent, or you can also adjust its scale.
Let me make sure I understand exactly what he did.
Yeah, okay. And then with the bottom pipe, top pipe, and now we need that point box I was talking about. So let's create a new box. Box.
And the basic
and
3D.
Point box, just like kill box is called kill box, because we're testing the name to figure out what to do when we overlap. This guy also needs overlaps enabled. And then I just need to adjust its extent, or you can also adjust its scale. So I'll just do that. I'll make it a little bit thinner so that you have to get like the middle of the pipe before it registers the point. And I'll scooch it over.
Alright, so that's how he's doing it.
Okay, so once the bird hits this, then we get one.
Fantastic, alright. Alright. Let's rename this real quick, come on. Point box. The big yawns. Man, it's 10 PM now. Been streaming for like 2 hours now. Goodness me. Oh, the big stretches. Oh. All right. Okay. So pop it like that. All right, that should do.
That's the plan anyway. Okay. Oh, I think okay. Yeah, let's go back to our default scene. We turn off collision visualization with K. Oh, by the way, Z. Let's go into wireframe. Not sure if I said that yet, but sometimes that can be helpful. And now we need to create a node to store a pipe scroller script. So let's go node, do node 3D, called pipe scroller, and we just want to
pipe scroller, brilliant. Okay, so that's just a node 3D, is that?
Z. Let's go into wireframe. Not sure if I said that yet, but sometimes that can be helpful. And now we need to create a node to store a pipe scroller script. So let's go node, do node 3D, called pipe scroller, and we just want to
that was a node.
Let's go into wireframe. So let's go node, do node 3D.
Yeah, just node 3D. So it's just a thing with a position, right?
By the way, a little word on the script parameters here, the script properties on nodes. You don't have to put that Lua, but you can. And also, if you have different directories, like different folders, you'll need to make sure you put the full path. Even though all Lua scripts need to be basically unique, the names have to be unique. Right now it's just not set up, so you can just put the name, you have to put the path. So like if you had like a monsters folder with monster scripts inside, like you have to do like monster/goblin.lua. Otherwise, I wouldn't find it. But everything is just in our root scripts directory, so let's do pipescroller.lua. Cool.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah, unique names. I was under the impression that that was because the directory didn't matter, but guess not. It's just kind of a quirk of the thing. Right, transform. Brilliant. So what am I doing? A pipe scroller. Time to scroll some pipes. Pipe scroller. Hi. Okay, I'm trying to remember what the name of the thing was. Pipe scroller. Yeah. So what was the error? Once again, another end situation. So let's go back into my code in the pipe scroller. Okay, so many ends. So many ends. So much need for ends. All right. Okay, fantastic. Wonderful.
And then let's just try hitting play to see if it worked. Let's pause. I don't see any pipes. Hey, but I did create them. Oh, they're really far away. So I'm paused right now. Let me resume. Oh, they are not moving. Our pipe scroller.
He's really demonstrating how the pause feature is quite useful, huh? Okay. I wonder what it looks like for me. It's P. And what was it? F8, I think, to go and have a little look around. Yeah, there we are. How about... It's not quite lined up with the bird either. Weird. Okay, how about I just line up the bird with the thing? And the thing is, it's gonna... If I edit it here, I'm not sure if it's gonna save. Is it like Unity where it will reset or something? They don't look that far away though, if I'm being honest. So can I just resume it? If I just wait long enough, will they appear or are they stationary? Yeah, maybe they're stationary. Okay. Yeah, that does look pretty cool. It's me, Mario, but I can fly. NWG just started his stream. Will you be checking in after this? I've still got a lot of work to do, to be honest. But yeah, I'll drop down when the time rises and there's enough something interesting. Because yeah. Let's see. I'll stick around until the stream actually starts. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Worldwide. 3D games with a 2D perspective are so fascinating. Lario. Flying Mario, right? I get what you're doing there. 3D games with a 2D perspective. With 2D gameplay, I guess, is what you meant. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess some people might call this a 2.5D game, like Kirby 64 or whatever it was. It was like a side scroller, but it was 3D low poly stuff. I need to play that still. That's been a little bit of a fascination for me, but there's so many games I just need to play. So yeah, I've still got I'm 1 hour 35 minutes through a tutorial that's 2.5 hours long. So I've got less than an hour to go. So I'm getting close to the end. I'm almost there, but yeah, it just needs a bit. There's still a big chunk of time still to sort things out. So in 25 minutes ish, I'll be halfway to the end from this exact moment. So yeah, and the tutorial is sped up a little bit, so it's but obviously I'm having to pause it to do the things that I'm being instructed to do. So yes, how it does. Fantastic. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, Mr. Worldwide. It's I'll have to do more streams because they can be quite interesting sometimes, and it's nice to talk with people in the chat every once in a while. Do a bit of work, do a bit of talking with people. It's not a bad time, even if it's a little bit. It's not really one way per se because I'm speaking, and it's just the people in the chat use text, and I speak with my voice. So it's asymmetrical, but it's not necessarily one directional, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's right. Along with most of the Smash games, yeah, Smash Bros. It's a pretty good example. And I think a lot of fighting games are generally like 3D these days, unless you go back to like the Super Nintendo days of like Street Fighter and these old beat 'em up games and all that stuff. But yeah, 2.5D is pretty cool. Alright. I'm really itching to play that Kirby game from the Nintendo 64 now, because it looks pretty wholesome. Well, except for the final boss, which I've heard. I guess they're pulling an Earthbound, are they? Like a terrifying final boss, but pretty wholesome otherwise. I guess that's the way to do it, huh? Unless you're Undertale, and then yeah, you know, it's like the tone is wholesome, but I don't know. There's strange characters in there that you wouldn't want to have around children. You know. All right. Anyways, I don't remember giving them movement to the pipes. Did we do it? I'm gonna look into the code. Pipe scroller. All right, tick. There we are. Okay. Don't do it if it's not enabled. For all the pipes, you pause the what X is this. Okay, so that's for wrapping it. Move pipe, local, set position, new pause. Okay, so that. Oh, I've added a J there for some reason. What? That doesn't seem right. All right, well, I'm gonna watch the tutorial anyways. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go look at pipe scroller. Let's debug this.
I made a typo, but is this something that he's missed that I've also missed?
That's correct. Self.scroll speed, we set that here. Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna let him do this.
So go back here, hit Alt-R to reload. So we should be hitting it now, because it should be early outing. Okay, releasing the tick, that's something. Oh. Not sure you can see that.
Look how fast he is.
Okay, so I screwed something up.
I do like programmers that they can do this stuff so relaxed. Meanwhile, I'm tearing my hair out like an angry man. Why won't you work? Yeah, I'm more of an art animation guy than a coder, but I can do coding, and I'm not bad at it per se. I can figure it out.
Self-supposition. We want to call pipe supposition, because self would be the...
Oh man. Really? Self-supposition. Oy vey. Alright. But yeah, for loop, local pipe. So we want to do pipe. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, okay. Easy mistake to make. When you
scroll the pipe scroller.
Yeah, did he record all this in one go? 1 hour, 30 minutes. He's just non-stop. I'm just making a game and talking. Yeah, you know, bound to make mistakes in a situation like that, huh? Alright, well, let's keep going.
Everything moves with that, but
I'll make sure his is working first before I test mine.
And when a pipe gets too far, then we update this position to put it back in line. So yeah, especially with the pipes here, not the pipe scroller itself. This is just like a holder for the script, basically. So maybe that's the problem. Let's see. Alt-R to reload scripts. Press play. Hey, okay. Ooh, actually made that. Let me see if the collision works. Okay, obviously there's a scaling issue. Oh no, you know why? Because the bird doesn't have overlaps enabled. Okay, let's escape. Let's go to our bird.
Overlaps enabled for bird. Alright. Hey, okay, got it. So let's go to the bird. And if we go to primitives overlaps, will that work now? I'm going to test mine now. Oh wait, no, I'm playing the bird instead of the default scene. Okay, all right, brilliant. Alright, looks like the bird is still going through the pipes though. Alright, maybe there's something else that needs to be done. Maybe there's a typo somewhere. And these pipes are a bit on the small side. I think they need to be doubled in size. Or something like that. But yeah, the pipes work nicely.
Click a sphere. Oh, another trick, by the way, if you need to move the camera faster or slower, while you're holding right click and moving around, you can scroll the mouse wheel up or down, and that will adjust your camera speed. So let me get a little closer. Okay, so now I'm moving as slow as I can. But if you scroll up, then you're moving real fast.
Oh, that's cool. I better make a note of that. So many, like Godot, it's like you have to press a button to make it go faster. And it's like, it's not quite the right speed. The fast speed should be the medium speed. Because it's quite slow by default. Alright. Scroll mouse wheel for faster viewport movement. Okay, fantastic. Scroll mouse wheel during movement of viewport in viewport for faster viewport movement. I'm trying to word it in a way that I'll understand it even if I come back to it later. I kind of feel like I need to take another break, actually. All right, I'm gonna, yeah, I'll take a little break now, and I'll come back to this in a moment. Alright, I'm back. Is it cool with the gameplay from Super DynoStorm there? I'm back to Westman. That's some pretty old footage. I'm going to update that at some stage. But yeah, let's get back to the making of the Flappy Bird for the GameCube. What a bizarre age we live in where mobile games are getting 2.5D ports to the GameCube. All the technology we needed was right there back in the early 2000s, and everything else has just been icing on the cake. And in some ways, things have gotten worse. People are hungry for the old days, and I don't blame them. I love the NES, Super Nintendo. We got the low poly era. I think the next one might be stuff like GameCube games. But yeah, there are like realistic kind of Unreal Engine looking indie games now, so I don't know, we'll have to see. I may have to think ahead and see if I can start working on a game that's kind of GameCube-esque in its scope and quality and textures and stuff. But it's like, oh man, for an indie scope, is that possible? We'll have to find out. But yeah, I'd love to do more 3D stuff. I think that could be fun. And I do like the low poly look, I really do. I do have I like pixel art, I like low poly, it's great. The further away we've gotten away from that, the less video gamey it feels. And the more it's become just, you know, a Pixar movie or whatever. Which, you know, it's alright. I've played a bit of the demo for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. And very good quality models and animation and everything. I'm very impressed. I don't play AAA games very much. But I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily argue against that. But it does seem like a lot of other AAA games seem to be looking worse than they did in previous years and decades. So everything we've really needed to make a good game from like an indie developer's perspective has existed for ages, and game engines really do help a lot with that. I have no idea how they made GameCube games back in the early 2000s. I guess Nintendo had their own built-in engines, a bit like this, that they used, and and they just did that. And today it's more like there's this ecosystem of stuff like Unity and Unreal and Godot and Game Maker. All right. Anyways, back to the tutorial.
Okay, so yeah, hit K. Yeah, his sphere has no collision on it because it's black. I click overlaps, bang, it's green. So.
All right. Let me look at that again.
Yeah, his sphere has no collision on it because it's black. I click overlaps, bang, it's green.
Let me make sure I did that correctly. Okay, what was the button I was supposed to press? To test collision colors? I can't remember. No, no. He mentioned it at one point, and now I don't know. Oh, it's K for collision, is it? Alright, yeah. Tap K to view colors. I can never remember how to spell collision. Is it a double S or a double L? Because it looks wrong both ways. Alright, I made a little note of that. See if it works.
So, we'll save that, go back to default, hit play. Oh no. Oh, you know what? It might be. Oh, no, okay. Our bird does have overlaps enabled. That is good. Well, let's play the game with collision enabled. Okay. Oh, they all have. overlaps, and it looks. Oh, whoops! I didn't set the pipe scroller at 0, 0, did I?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think we've both made the same mistake, huh? Position. Set everything to 0, 0. I may want to move the camera as well. Pipe scroller. 0, 0. Yeah. Camera. Let's move this back. And give it the play. Alright, wonderful. What will it? Okay, nice. Yeah, these pipes are pretty thin, though, I must say. Good God. Alright. Wonderful, I got one. No! Okay. This is the most challenging game of Flappy Bird ever. Yeah, I guess Flappy Bird is a pretty simple way of teaching games development. But if it was me a beginner tutorial, it's just a little bit more involved to make a platformer or something. This is like so difficult. Alright. Okay, let's exit out of this then. I like how the text in this engine is pretty dinky and small and pixelated. It's good, it's retro. I hope they keep that and they don't try to modernize it at any point. It looks like there might be a bit of anti-aliasing on this text here. I like that it's bigger and chunkier, but maybe that could be a little pixely as well. No, it's probably fine. It just needs to not hide itself right away. I've already given that feedback to the developers, so let's go.
Oh, I did. Is the bird at 0, 0? Oh no, I want the bird to be at. Please overlap. Hey, there we go. He smashed into the pipe. And so as you can tell, my pipes are like a little. They're a lot smaller than the bird. So what I want to do is I'm just going to go into the pipe. Oh, rename this to pipe, and set scale to 2.
All right, so he just goes into the SC pipe and he doubles the size. All right. All right, fantastic. I've actually made the half pipe. I've duplicated the thing. Node. I don't think I've done this correctly. How do I make this set root node? Okay, save. Brilliant. How can I... How do I fix this? Because I've kind of assembled it kind of wrong. Oh god, I pressed something and now... T hides the left side. Alright. Okay, let's make this a bit more accurate. Okay. So that's a 0 again. Brilliant. Okay. Right, it looks like I've got the scale of this thing all messed up. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't crashed because this is a bit of a weird edge case, isn't it? Brilliant. Okay, so we just double the scale of these two pipes. That's right. I can do like Q and E, right? I keep forgetting to do that. So it's just like, oh, I'll look down and do it that way. All right, brilliant. Save. Wonderful. Baby's first video game. Brilliant. Fantastic.
Okay, so as you can see here, I set scale to 2 even though its Y and Z scale is still 1. It's scaled uniformly because anything with a child has to have uniform scale. So I'll set it to 2 just to be on the safe side, but there we go. Now let's go to default, play again. Okay, wait, is that really?
They're quite
Hey, I made it through. Okay, yeah, this needs some tuning, but it looks like we could get past the pipes. Let me go back into pipe and just maybe move this guy out a little bit. So that's 0.5. Okay, we'll do 3, and bottom pipe will be -3. And we just scale this point box again. Make sure it takes the whole space.
I don't know how you could dodge it though
Yeah,
through that
like
tiny
that.
gap, so I don't know. But whatever.
Dang, okay.
I guess it feels right to have it that size.
Okay, cool. So we have the pipes rolling, and you hit them, and it gives you the game over. Well, it ends your run. So now let's try to keep track of the score. Whenever we hit that point box, we need to increment the score, and we already have the code set up there somewhat. Let's go over to game, and we want to keep track of the high score, so you don't forget how good you did.
Fantastic. All right, high score. We're getting into the nitty-gritty now. Score widget. All right, so we're gonna learn how to render some UI to the screen, or some HUDs to the screen rather. Game over widget. He's using the word widget, so I'm wondering how that works. Adding the flap animation. Because we had the flap animation first. Oh well. Doing the game so we can actually play. Alright, yeah, I mean, music plus ding sound. Okay, great. Sky quad. Alright, fantastic. We're gonna have a background. Upcoming videos. Alright. Packaging the game and getting it working in Dolphin. Brilliant. Alright, okay, you're almost there, buddy. He's got another 40-ish minutes of high speed making a game. Making a game really is exhausting. When man, if I did not, I remember when I was doing Unity when I was like 14 or something, and I followed the tutorial, I did everything to the best of my ability, and it wasn't working, and I had no clue what to do. It was a pain. So really having a guy who can look at the code and help out is a big helps. So Look at this. Okay. High score, brilliant. Okay, let's just power through this.
Actually, let's go back. I wonder how she is. Okay, so we're gonna add a widget actually.
This is so much.
We are going to add text. So if you right click, you can go to spawn basic widget and then text. And you can mix and match widgets with 3D nodes in the same scene. When you click on a widget, it'll bring you into the 2D mode, but you can use this drop down, go to 3D, or go to scene, which combines them together. Basically, whenever you click on a 3D object or widget, it will switch to 2D or 3D. because generally just use your editing.
Nice. All right.
But we want to put a score basically in the center on the top maybe. So first off, let's increase the text size. You can click and drag. Put like 37 as like a placeholder just to visualize it.
All right.
Actually, let's go back.
I'm not sure if I've done this correctly.
Okay, so we're gonna add a widget actually. We are going to add text. So if you right click, you can go to spawn basic widget and text, and you can mix and match
Text.
widget and 3D nodes in the same scene. When you click on a widget, it'll bring you into 2D mode, but you can use this drop down to go to 3D or go to scene, which combines them together. Basically, whenever you click on a 3D object or widget, it will switch to 2D or 3D. Because generally just use your editing.
Text.
But we want to put a score basically in the center on the top maybe. So first off, we are going to add text, the same scene. When you click on a widget, it'll bring you into 2D mode, but you can use this drop down to go to 3D or go to scene, which combines them together. Basically, whenever you click on a 3D object or widget, it will switch to 2D or 3D. Because generally just use your editing in these states. But we want to put a score basically in the center on the top maybe. So first off, let's increase the text size. You can click and drag. Put like 37 as like a placeholder just to visualize it. This might be too big on like GameCube, for instance.
Oh,
We'll
why?
have like 42.
What? Why is it so freaking tiny? What? It's like I'm having to get to like 3,000 or something to get it to display. What's that about? That's weird. Left top. Okay, that seems correct, but for some reason it's just freaking tiny. Text 37, right. And then when I press enter, it updates. Rotation, okay. Opacity, scale, set. Yeah, the defaults all seem to be correct, but for some blimmin' reason, it's displaying this in the middle and tiny. Weird. What's that about? I'm a little bothered about how close that is, huh? It's like it's a freaking mile away. What happens if I play it? Okay, well in the game it's displaying like it's a colossus. You can kind of see it just glowing on the bottom there. So I think there's it's likely just something wrong with the camera in the actual. Okay, view, grid. Field of view. Does this change anything? No. Okay, where did the widget go? Text. All right. What size did he set it to? Blimmin'. Yeah, that's freaking tiny. Can't see it. If I hit play. Paused. All right. I don't suppose I can see widgets from here, huh? Oh, I can see the 37 in the corner there. Ah. Okay, stop. But yeah, I can see the 37 now. Weird. Okay. If I go to 2D, it vanishes and becomes tiny and in the middle. But if I go to scene, I can actually see it. That's weird. I'm not sure why that is. I may have to send the guy my project if this persists. Alright. I just make note of encountering a bug. Bug where text widget tiny in the middle of screen in 2D viewing, but looks normal in scene view. No clue why. He sends files. There we are. Weird. Okay. Text. So I gotta be careful not to click off it, I guess. 32. 64. Make it nice and fat. Like a large fat man. Now give it a little bit of a border. Something like this. Alright, crispy. You can import fonts as well. Aye. Bardzo dobrze. Let's go.
Okay, that's good. Okay, next, so for a widget, they have different anchor modes, and basically that means like when the screen resolution changes, like where does it like position itself in relation to? And we want to have it anchored to the top middle of the screen, so it's always in the middle, in the top. So we have our, I'll rename this to score text maybe. You can
Okay. Oh man, I'm just spacing out. You can really tell how tired I blimmin' am. Score text.
this to score text maybe. You can hit S by the way to adjust the rect or adjust the widget dimensions, I guess. For text, it doesn't matter too much. For quads, it's more important. It kind of matters for like, well, for instance, let me scale that here, and then if I go on the right and change this justification to center, it'll center itself in the middle of the rectangle. So it is kind of important.
Brilliant.
If I go to anchor mode and switch it to top mid, now it's all changing in relation to the middle of the screen. This right here is like where it's rooted. So if I resize the window, you can see it kind of stays in the center. So okay, that looks pretty decent. Let's save there. You can change the color if you want.
I may want to change my offsets.
You can change the font too. You can import your own TTF font. Hopefully it works. Make sure you only use like ASCII characters. I don't really support anything else. Sorry. Maybe in the future. Yeah, okay. So we have score text now. If we go into the scene, you can see it there. And we named it score text because we're going to want to reference that. So let's go back into the game. On start, we can find a score text. We'll do self.score text equals self.world. Find node score text because that's what we named it.
Self.score text. Brilliant. Alright, so this is the game referencing this. Ah, man. Just all of my entire body and mind, and I'm starting to fidget with my legs. I am just losing my mind. I've been doing this for too long. I'm reaching my limit. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Brilliant. Let's clean this up. This code right here. Horrendous. Self score text. Let's go. Self.world. Looks like he's made a typo there saying word score text. You'll probably fix that in a moment. Score text. So now we can reference this thing based on the thing. So presumably the player or something is going to hit the point thing and then call a function or something, and they'll talk to each other somehow. Let's see.
And then let's create some helper functions here for changing the score. So maybe we'll do set score.
Brilliant.
We'll pass in a new score. And this is going to do basically self score equals new score. And we'll also make sure to update the score text itself whenever it's happening. So self.score text, set text, and then we can do those two string
function with an argument.
Score integer value to turn into a string. And then we'll also get the function just to get score, which I guess we don't really need, but I feel like we have a set score. The get score makes sense. Okay. Also now when we
Okay. Set so the set score and get score, brilliant. People like doing these things, don't they? Score text. Set text. Toss string? Oh, to string. Alright. So it's converting this into a string. Alright, brilliant. It's an integer, make it a string. Got it. Function, game, get score, return, self score, end. Hey.
reset the game, Probably want to set the score back to 0.
Okay, brilliant.
And now when birds overlap, when we're detecting that we've overlapped the point box, we can actually increment the score.
Okay, wait. No collision there. I'm getting so tired. I'm becoming an Indian man. Oh.
Score. So to get the game is actually bird's parent. We could do self. I'll do this way just because it's a new way of getting a node. I'll do self or local game equals self get parent. You could also do find like self that world find node, or you could set up in like in bird star. You could do self game equals world find node. Anyway, there's options, but I'm just showing you here. You can do self get parent. And now that we have the game, hopefully we can call set score, get the game's current score, and add 1 to it. So let's just make sure it works. Reload scripts. Uh-oh, word. Game 22. So it'll tell you the line numbers here when you get an error. So make bird star, you could do self find like self game equals self get parent. You could also do
find. Which like, these tabs acted as one thing.
Like in bird star, you could do self.
Look at that. If I use control, that goes a huge distance.
Anyway, there's options, but I'm just showing you here. You can do self get parent. And now that we have the game, hopefully we can call set score, get the game's current score, and add. So let's just make sure it works.
Constantly setting and getting things up.
22. So it'll tell you the line numbers here when we get an error. So game 22, control G. We'll let you go to line number. Oh, yep, word. Okay. Reload again. Okay, set to 0. Oh man, I gotta adjust the tuning on this. Oh yeah. Hey, it went to 1. Did you see that? Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite funny that my game seems to be a little bit more playable than his, but he's done a little bit more tweaking in the meantime. Alright. Nope. Okay, let's see if the number goes up. The number's not going up. Alright, something's clearly wrong. For the pipes, did I set the point box to be a collision as well? Overlaps. Alright, brilliant. That must be it. Nice. Okay, 1, 2. Brilliant. Okay, there we are. So score was 3 and then resets to 0 when they restart. Brilliant. Nicely done. Oh. To be a true master of games development, you must be willing to act like an amateur, practice like. I'm not sure what the line is. I don't know. Did Buddha say that? Was it Sun Tzu? I can't remember. Or was it Aristotle? I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed that I don't know who said that line. I don't know. I think maybe it was the Buddha who said something like, when enlightened, collects water, chop wood. Before enlightenment, collects wood, chop water, or chop water. But the point is, life's still the same, no matter where you are in your development. Yeah, I've got the easy version of Flappy Bird. That looks like, well, easy enough, anyways. But yeah. Oh geez, my stream preview is like really far behind in the actual thing. Fantastic. Views 11. Okay, fantastic. I'm almost done. Okay, come on, there's 40 minutes to go. Oh man, I'm tired beyond reason. I am a sleepy man. I love to have the background stuff. Oh, okay, game over widget. Alright, so we're gonna learn how to hide and show widgets, I guess. Add the flap animation. Alright. So a pretty involved process by the look of it, just skimming through this. I guess he really wants people to understand all the ins and outs of this engine, which is fair. It's like if you only have so much time to make a tutorial, you want to be as comprehensive as humanly possible. Collision, UI, input, loops, items interacting with one another, all this kind of stuff. And I'm quite happy that this is mostly like pretty simple. There's a few weird things here and there, but it's actually quite simple. It's nothing too crazy. The collision's just the name of the object, huh? That's pretty simple. I'm not sure if you can have objects that share the same name in the same layer and things like that. I'm pretty sure if you duplicate it, it gives it the name too. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling real agitated now. Feeling really on edge. Alright, I mean, I could probably get this done before midnight if I really try. So let's just power on through it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I need to adjust the ceiling. Also, zoom the camera out. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, hey, that's working. What next? What next? What next? Oh yeah. Okay, let's.
He's doing this on the fly as well. He didn't plan this. Oh, what next? Alright, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll have the scene. Okay, we're gonna make a game over. I guess I'll call it SC game over. Now this scene is gonna be just a widget. So here we'll add a. I'll do widget. Kind of make it yay size, and then we'll add a background to it. So we can go to widget quad. Quad is just a rectangle with a color or a texture. Here we're not gonna use texture on it. We're just gonna give it a just a color. So here we'll add a. I'll do widget. Kind of make it yay size, and then we'll add a background to it. So we can go to widget quad. Quad is just a rectangle with a color or a texture. Here we're not gonna use texture on it. We're just gonna give it a.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a pain because of this weird thing where I can't even see it. 2D. See, why is it so freaking tiny? For some reason, is it because I've made the window smaller? I have no clue. Okay. So where's it gone now? I've changed the window size, now I can't see it anywhere. Ah, brilliant. I can't even see it now. You can see that there's like a green box or something. Okay, it appeared for a second there, but then it vanished. What's up with that, huh? Oh, they no. View, wireframe, collision, proxy, bounds, grid, stats, interface scale. Can I get it to exactly 2? Go right up to 3. Oh, let's not make it half size. It already looks pixel perfect as is. View, edit. Look at these drop downs. They're mouse position sensitive. They're not tied to the actual button. They're tied to the mouse position. I would say that that's good design. It's not necessarily the most uniform, but practicality wise, it's like, yeah, I feel like a lot of interfaces these days, they have they spread out everything and they make it fat, and it's like I'm so used to clicking on something from the old days of Windows 7 and XP, and you just move slightly, and then there's this little spot right there, but it's like you have to move a mile with your mouse just to get to the actual drop down menu because they add spacing and everything to make it look quote unquote cleaner. But this is just practical, it just works, you know. It's not necessarily the most impressive interface, but it's got pretty much everything you need to make a game in the most simplest way. Alright, let's try adding another widget. I still don't see anything at all. Oh no. Let's add some text. Oh, for some reason it's really far offset. Why is it over there? Weird. Text, brilliant. No, don't write that word. Alright. For some reason, it's just way over to the edge there. At least I can kind of see something now. Alright, in scene view, I can kind of see it now. Blast. I have no clue what the issue is. Okay, that doesn't seem right though. Now that thing that's supposed to be making me is making it more of a pain. Offset size. Scale, everything looks default, good. If I go here, okay, size, offset, color. Notification center. We got the offset. This doesn't look like it's in the middle, at least not of this area. I can just play the scene, and yeah, it looks like it's over to the right, like a little bit. Part of me is considering just skipping the game over thing, because there's a pretty nasty bug here. Because the game technically works in every other reasonable fashion, and I am kind of running out of time, so... Okay, I'm going to skip over the game over segment and just go to the flag animation. Okay, so we're going to go straight to the fun stuff, because this is going to slow me down a bit too much. So yeah, it's going to show it when it's finished. It's going to set this to show, and it's going to set the numbers to be the score and the high score. You know, it's nothing we haven't really covered. It's mostly widget stuff, and the widget stuff is bugged for me for whatever reason. So, yeah. Let's just keep going.
Let's go to Burb. Go to Tick, where we're doing the flap speed Y change. Yeah, so we have the mesh already. Let's go play animation. Flap. It should not be looping, so that's false. The speed is 1, weight is 1, and the priority output is 2. So
brilliant. Okay, nice and easy. This will take no time at all. Okay, brilliant. What is this little button? Is this freaking rune modify? What? Weird. Stop putting weird sparkles there. It makes me think it's an AI thing. Oh my god. False. So it's not a looping animation. 1-1. Priority 2. Okay. And will this just work? Not quite. Right.
this should play over top of the idle. I forget if the flap animation only has the wings flapping, in which case we do want to layer the flap on top of the idle so that like the legs and the tail keeps on idling, but the wings go through on flap animation. I kind of forget exactly how it's set up, but let's see if this works. There we go. Now we're flapping. Oof. Okay, really gotta.
Alright, it worked for him. So why doesn't it work for me? Ah, I think I know. There we are. Nice. Okay, there we are. So the flap works. It's me, Mario. Yeah. It's the time to go to the pipe. Default values were actually like pretty spot on with what's needed for this game. I wonder if I can hit the top pipe when it goes right up to the top there. Like it's done on a couple of occasions. I'm a little curious. I'm tired, so I end up just playing the game itself. But yeah, from here it's just adding sound effects and stuff. And okay. No, it looks like I can't even hit the top pipe when it's like that. Well, that makes things quite easy, doesn't it? Oy vey. Alright, time to get back to things. Tune the game so we can actually play it. I'm not sure what that involves, whether he's balancing it or something else. It could be important though, so let's pay attention.
Okay, yeah, maybe let's do that now. Yeah, I'll do it live. Oh, I'm in ortho. Okay, ortho view. I also had overlaps or collision debug rendering on. Okay, so I turned it off. Now I can see these little guys. So these, by the way, these are called proxy meshes. If you hit view proxy, you can turn those off. Also, I think P is the hotkey. Yep. So if you don't see them, you might hit P by accident. You press P to bring them back. But these just show you like meshes where there's 3D nodes that don't normally have anything rendered. So.
Oh, I see. Alright, so if I go to view proxy, right, view proxy. Okay, something that would be very good is having a checkbox in the view thing. So if you accidentally hide the proxy, then you'll see it's empty or something. And then you have the shortcut P to pay attention to it. So I'm going to add it to my feedback. So in view drop down show checkbox for what is and isn't displayed. Could also add icons to show what a proxy, etc. is. Fantastic. All right. And what's the other thing? Okay. Weird bug with widgets being in the wrong place and size in 2D view, but normal in scene view, making it impossible to work with properly. Okay, I think I might have already said that. Yeah, I've already said that. I'm repeating myself. I'm truly tired this evening, aren't I? Alright.
Maybe we'll make the ortho width a little bit bigger, like 32. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay, and then let's change. Well, yeah, I'm gonna show you something cool. We're gonna make properties on our scripts actually. So on the bird, that's where we have the ceiling and the floor values. We're gonna make properties for these. So how you do that is, all right, make it right here. We'll make a function called gather properties, and then we're gonna define properties on the script that will be able to be shown in editor once you define them here. So the way you do that is you return a table, and each table entry is another table that has a name. So we'll call it like actually the same has to match your variable. So we'll call it y4. And for its type, it is a floating point value. So type equals like datum type dot float. Yeah, there's no documentation for this. My bad. But I'll do a quick rundown of what all these different datum types are.
What's he doing?
Ceiling type equals datum type dot float. Yeah, let me pop open the source code real fast and do datum type. Yeah, so we got integers, floats, booleans, strings, vector 2D, vector, color. Vectors are going to be like XYZ or RGB. Colors are going to be XYZW or RGBW, and vector 2D is just an X and Y. You got assets, so you can, if you want to change a different sound clip that plays, you can set it up as an asset property. The rest,
I'm not sure what he's doing exactly with this data collection thing. Is it necessary? Is it important?
They're actually defined in, what was it, misglua.cpp. Float. Yeah, bind datum type. So it's integer, float, bool, string, vector 2D, vector, asset, byte, table. Okay, they're all here. Okay. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, we created the properties on it now. So let's see if we can adjust these. So if I click on bird, hey, so see in the script drop down here in this tab, there's now y floor and y ceiling. So we can like change these.
Ah, so this is like export variables. All right, brilliant.
Set by table. Okay, they're all here. Okay. Anyway, where were we?
Okay. Function bird gather properties. I assume it has to be called that. Right, okay, well, if we go to here, let's do it. All right, function and bird gather properties proper. Okay, someone's hitting buttons on the other side. Hello. And gather properties. There we are. I'm so tired. I didn't know how to spell properties. Return. Let's go. Name equals y floor. Okay, so this is just the name of the variable we've already established. And type equals datum type dot float. All right, brilliant. So, okay, basically exports variables. Wonderful. That could be quite useful. Definitely. Okay, so I'm glad he's mentioned this. I wasn't sure what he was doing, but it's like, okay, brilliant. I can modify variables in the inspector. And hopefully it's instance independent as well. So that I can make like multiple enemies and give them slightly different parameters to make them interesting. Or different like a lamppost object. And you change its height with the exports variable. Whether you can actually have it display differently in the editor though is something. Because yeah, I know Godot has its own live updating stuff. But yeah, these 2.5-hour tutorials, they can easily take like 6-7 hours. It's a day's work for the guy watching it. So yeah, especially if it's all new to you. You're just following along. All right. Gather properties. All
oh yeah,
right.
we created the properties on it now.
Save.
So let's see if we can adjust
Reload.
these. So if I click on bird, hey, so see in the script drop down here in this tab, there's now y floor and y ceiling. So we can like change these. There's like 20. Like, aha, we can go higher.
Okay, failed to create script instance. I did not have time to see that. Attach the birds. Class has not been loaded. Couldn't load script file birds. 32 expected to close line 20. Okay, so there's some kind of syntax error. Oh, is there supposed to be a comma here or something? Oh, there's also supposed to be an end here. Okay. All right, how did he do it? I want to just go back real quick. Make sure I...
Float. Yeah, bind datum type. So it's integer float bool string back to the vector asset byte table. Okay, they're all here. Okay. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, we created the...
Okay, they both have a comma after them. Is that necessary? Like, maybe. Let's just put one in anyways. Y ceiling type equal to float. Is that how you're supposed to use a return? Okay.
properties on it now. So let's see if we can adjust these. So if I click on bird, hey, so see in the script,
Brilliant. All right, well, let's try it again. All right, there we are. Y floor, Y ceiling. Brilliant. Fantastic. All right, good.
drop down here in this
Let's
tab,
keep going.
there's now Y floor and Y ceiling. So we can like change these. There's like 20. Like, aha, we can go higher and lower. Okay, hey, that's not too bad. Awesome. Frame 10. Okay. It's interesting. I think it's recording. Things seem like a slightly stuttery for me, but anyway, turn that off. And what else do we want to change? Oh, maybe that was fine. Maybe it was just the ceiling, floor, and the zoom out of the camera. That's probably enough.
You know, I think a good way to help me get to sleep would be to just watch tutorial last thing at the end of the day. Something challenging that's going to make me tired and make me want to just... I think I want to go to bed now. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, now let's add some music and sound effects. So let's go to game.lua.
Fantastic.
Sorry,
Let's
actually
go.
make a folder for sounds. And let's
I think I might already have one. Okay, yeah. So you got BGM and ding.
import SW ding, which is going to be the point sound and a BGM track. When you're exporting waves to be imported into Octave, I would say if you're crashing when you're importing them, just bring them over into Audacity first, and then export them as PCM waves, and that usually fixes it for me because like when I export a track from FL Studio, it does not load it properly into Octave, and I think apparently it's something to do with some extension being used of the wave format. Didn't quite get a chance to dig into it, but Audacity will.
PCM WAVs, alright, I'll make note of that. PCM files. Alright, I wonder if this engine supports like a tracker music. You know, get yourself into a tracker thingamabob and then it just works. It just works. Like King Crimson. It just works. What do you mean it just works? It just works. Yeah, what do you mean it just works?
Export it into just plain old PCM, just raw data. So just do that if you're in trouble. Okay, so here, if we control click to open up these properties, we got ding. Oh, that's playing. It's not playing.
Ah, cool, you can play it. Yay, bing bong bing bong. Let's do it. Properties. Fantastic. How fast can I press the button? Hey, I'm pretty good at pressing the button. Okay, and stop works, that's good. Volume multiplier, pitch multiplier, audio class, compress internal. Alright. So it looks like it has some metadata for it as well. Crispy, okay.
Oh, might be playing. I have my headset turned off. Okay, yes, it's been playing. And if I go to BGM, I'm gonna change the volume just to be like half as loud, because honestly, it's gonna drive.
Okay. Let's turn down the volume, yeah. 0.1. I should consider adding my own music. Can I open this in Explorer? Capture active scene. Yeah, I think what he needs to add is a open file in Explorer button. Yeah, that's some good feedback. All right, let's go. Open file folder index. Or a button to open Explorer / native file browser. Let's not say native, let's say default, because I don't know, I'm trying to be accurate with my words, but it's probably I'm overthinking it. Open Windows Explorer / default file browser. To reveal that file folder from assets library. Okay, fantastic. Because I think that would be quite useful. But I do think I have the folder somewhere here on my extravagance displays. Well, what? What's going on? I did not mean to do that. Let's pop that over here. Okay, there we are. If I go to flap 1, there we are. Okay, assets, sounds. Oh, it's just an oct file, huh? How did that happen? Right, does it turn everything into an oct file? Is it just a WAV file with metadata? I want to know. Okay, I've opened up Ocean Audio or Ocean Audio. I'm gonna try clicking and dragging in. Raw sound format. I'm gonna press OK. No, I can't open it. So oct is you can't just click and drag an oct file into an audio editor by the look of it. No, at least not with the default settings. There might be a way. Yeah, it's nice that there's metadata and the actual sound in the same thing. But yeah. So yeah, if I go to name, sound wave, compress. So how do I actually change the sound itself? Let's try importing some music, shall I? What should I choose? I should choose some of my own music, obviously. Okay. Okay, I think it requires WAVs or something. Yeah, let's just go wise.wav. Brilliant. SW underscore wide theme. Brilliant. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to read that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to give some feedback as well on that. Some colors are difficult to read. The purple of text for sound waves is tricky to see on. Is that grey or teal? I'm not sure. On highlight color. I'm just going to say highlight color. I'm too colorblind to know what that color's supposed to be. Yeah. Perhaps unique highlight colors by file type color. That would be cool. I think that can make it a pretty cool aesthetic. Alright, if I go to properties of this. Oh yeah, okay. I'm trying to turn down the volume, but I can't seem to do it. For some blimmin' reason. Properties. Okay, I can't change that either. Weird. Okay, what's going on here, huh?
Just raw data, so just do that if you're in trouble. Okay, so here, if we control click to open up these properties, we got ding. Oh, is that playing? It's not playing. Oh, it might be playing. I have my headset turned off. Okay, yes, it's been playing. And if I go to BGM, I'm gonna change the volume to be like half as loud, because honestly, it's gonna drive you insane anyway. So this is just a proof point that you can add background music.
Alright. .5, and it corrects it to 1. Okay, there's another bug. Tried importing a WAV file, but it refused to let me change the volume and always went to 1.0. So I guess we'll be enjoying this track at full volume. Alright. Okay. It plays fine. Okay, what else? Let's go.
These compression options, by the way, if you do compress, that means it will use lid Vorbis or OGG compression when it's writing the file in like on disk. But I currently don't have functionality to decode it on the fly. So when you do load a compressed sound wave in game, it's actually going to decompress it all, which can be a problem on GameCube when you have 24 megabytes of memory. In the future, I'm going to try to get audio decompression on the fly happening, so you can save a lot of memory because songs like they're huge, so they're going to take a lot of space. Compress internal. So basically, when you save a sound wave in the editor, it's still going to save it uncompressed, but it's just going to like build it compressed later. If you compress internal, it's going to be compressed all the time. You won't be able to come back from that. So I usually put compress on. So okay, save that.
All right.
Okay, so we have SWDing, SWDGM. Let's go back into game now.
I can't even update. Can I just straight up not update any of the parameters? Okay. Properties. Alright, stop that. Try importing a web file but refuses to let me change. Plays fine. Of the other parameters seem to be changeable, including compress values. Play and stop are fine though. Okay. Compress again. It's just not doing it. It's just having a bit of a moment. Should I try restarting the editor? I don't know. It might be fine after a restart, but it's worth whatever. It's like it's saying save changes or not, and it's not showing it properly. Alright, let's just keep going. Running out of time now.
So the game start.
Just 15 minutes to go.
The BGM track. We'll call our load asset function again.
Brilliant. Okay, let's go back to code. Okay, game. Okay. Self dot BGM sound equals load asset.
And then now we're going to use the audio table. So that'll be an audio underscore load.cpp. And we're going to use play sound 2D using that BGM sound.
Yeah.
I forget what these are. It's like volume, pitch. Let's go audio play sound 2D F12.
Play sound 2D. All right.
Yeah. So it's
nice. Code level sounds. I like that.
It is volume, pitch, start time. So we want loop to be true though. So make sure you put true. Priority 0 sounds good. So I think 1 will be a high priority. Oh, my note's at 100. Okay, we'll do 100. And you know, actually, yeah, because basically priority is if you have a lot of sounds playing all at the same time, the things with high priority will stay playing. The other ones will be affected and they just stop. So you want your music to have a high priority because if a lot of sounds go off, a lot of effects, then that would just cause music to stop. You don't want that. So we're putting music at a high priority here.
Okay.
Okay, and that's for the bird. Bird. Yes. On start, we'll do ding sound equals load asset SW ding. You know, while we're here, I'll just add this up here to the properties because this might be something you want to change out in the editor. It is easy enough to change out just in the script because you can hot reload and stuff, but just to show you how you do it, then type that asset.
All right, brilliant. This is in the. He switched over to the bird, huh?
On that, so we're putting music at a high priority here. Okay, and let's go to the bird. Bird.
So the bird is going to make the ding sound.
Ding sound equals load asset SW ding. You know, while we're here, I'll just add this up here to the properties because this might be something you want to change out in the editor. It is easy enough to change out just in script because you can hot reload and stuff, but just to show you how you do it, then type that asset. If that's the case, close it create actually.
Ding sound, all right. And that's it. SW. All right. SW ding. Okay. Ding the all caps, just like that. I assume that's for looping.
So the default, and I think create happens before you have your properties read from disk or like deserialized. So I'm just gonna put that there. and then you can override your ding sound later. So save that. Actually, let me go. Oh, I think create happens before you have your properties read from.
All right. Let me make sure. So that's in the create event, huh? Okay, so you can load stuff in the create event. Okay. I guess if for an export variable, it makes sense to do so, right? Okay, we're probably gonna want to play it on getting a point, so I want to pop it down here. Okay, brilliant.
So the default, and I believe I think create happens before you have your properties read from disk or like deserialized. So I'm just gonna put that there, and then you can override your ding sound later. So save that. Actually, let me go maximize this. Let's play the sound. So this is where we get the score. So we'll do audio.play sound to the do self.ding sound, and so we're playing a volume of 1, and for the pitch, let's actually randomize it. Let's do local pitch mod, and then we use that math.randRange function again to pick a random pitch between 0.9 and 1.1, just so it's not the same tone over and over again, and we'll pass that in as the pitch mod. Okay, let's see if this worked. If I click on bird.
Oh, hang on, slow down, buddy. All right, math dot rand range 0.9 to okay. Will it accept just 0.9 instead of 0.9? That's a question I'd like to ask, actually. Pitch mod. Play sound to the. This one has way fewer numbers for some reason. Are they optional? Yeah, I've been meaning to go back for a little while now to see what this function actually does. Okay, let's go.
I forget what these are. It's like volume, pitch. So I'll do play sound to the F12. Yeah, so it is volume, pitch, start time. So we want loop to be true though. So make sure you put true. Priority 0 sounds good. So I think 1 will be high priority.
All right, that makes sense.
Oh, I know that 100. Okay, we'll do 100. And before you have your properties read from disk or like deserialized. So I'm just gonna put that there, and then you can override your ding sound later. So save that. Actually, let me go maximize this. Let's play the sound. So this is where we get the score. So we'll do audio.play sound to the. So we're playing a volume of 1, and for the pitch, let's actually randomize it. Let's do local.
Okay, work in progress, huh?
Pitch mod, and then we use that math.randRange function again to pick a random pitch between 0.9 and 1.1, just so it's not the same tone over and over again, and we'll pass that in as the pitch mod. Okay, let's see if this works. If I click on bird, hey, see, it has SW ding there. If I import another sound, I could swap it out, but ding is fine for now. Okay, we got some background music playing. Nice. Hey.
Pitch mod.
Okay. Dang, it's pretty much the tutorial. I think in my version I added a like a texture quad. I added a texture quad to the background, so if you want to do that real fast, we can do that. I'll just make a textures folder.
I'm assuming they're not necessary.
Bird. And we'll pass it in as the pitch mod. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't add anything else. Good.
Hey, see, he has SW ding there. If I import another sound, I could swap it out. Ding fine for now. Okay, we got some background music playing. Nice. Hey.
All right, brilliant. All right.
Okay.
We're in.
Dang, it's pretty much the tutorial. I think in my version I added a like a texture quad. I added a texture quad to the background, so if you want to do that real fast, we can do that. I'll just make a textures folder, import.
Okay.
T background.ping. We'll spawn a select the root node and then spawn a quad, which will be a static mesh. We want to switch it from cube. Oh, I guess I could say cube, but switch to a plane. This is an engine asset, by the way, as a plane. We'll flip it around, so is that like 90? Oops. 90 degrees. We'll scale that a little bit with S. Make sure it's pushed in the background. We'll create a quad, which will be a static mesh. We want to switch it from cube. Oh, I guess I could say cube, but switch to a plane. This is an engine asset, by the way, as a plane.
Static mesh. All right. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Alright, how do I get it to rotate the right way? There we are. For some reason it has like a giant thing around it. Okay. Okay, crispy, that's good. Wonderful. Alright, got a nice score of 26 or whatever. Alright, that went pretty well. You really felt the energy picking up when it drops to metal there.
We'll flip it around, so is that like 90? Oops. 90 degrees. We'll scale it up a little bit with S.
Looks like I've already done it, huh?
Material for the background. Okay,
I think I remember checking this out before, and he said it to unlit or something.
And we will assign the override to it. That doesn't look that great, but
Shading model unlit. All right, brilliant.
Okay, kind of works. Now this game is very dependent on the aspect ratio. Like if I scooch this guy like this and play, it's gonna look different. The pipes are gonna be really tall, and you'll see that the the background actually doesn't cover the entire screen. So you might have to experiment with it, and you can even write code to adjust the background texture quad to scale based on the aspect ratio. But yeah, so that is the basic tutorial. So it's very simple right now. I think the next thing I want to do a little video on is like making a 3D character controller, like for a platformer, like something like Banjo or Mario 64, like, but just not actually nothing that advanced, but just how to move a character in 3D space with collision on the environment and like smooth sliding against the environment. Because I feel like if you're making a game for GameCube, you probably want to make like a 3D platformer. At least that's one of the things I would want to create. And that code can sometimes be tough, especially for beginners. So I might do that. But last thing here, before I end, if you want to package this game for GameCube, you go here, you hit File, Package Project. There's GameCube and GameCube Embedded. The difference is, if you do GameCube, all of your assets will be loosely placed in the same directory, and this will force you to load your game using an SD card reader, and also might be kind of slow. GameCube Embedded will compile all of your assets into binary and put them inside the executable, so you'll get a big .dol file, which is nice because you can open it up in Dolphin, the Dolphin emulator, and it's also easier to like transfer and stuff. But the issue with that is that you have to load the entire .dol file into RAM in order to play the game, and so if you get close to like 10 megabytes for your .dol file, you're probably gonna run out of memory when you're playing the game because you only have 24 megabytes of memory. So the ideal solution would be to be able to build .iso files for GameCube and Wii games, but it sounds very challenging. I really don't know where to begin on it. If you're interested in contributing to the engine, that would be something that's really helpful to make a .iso builder, but it's just like way beyond my level. So so that's where we are now. If you do like a Wii package build, that usually runs a lot better because you can put your files onto an SD card and plug them into your Wii, and you just use the homebrew browser to select it. So that's usually a lot better. Like using just a regular Wii build is probably fine. And also the embedded Wii builds will also be easier to run because the Wii has more memory, more RAM than the GameCube, so you can get away with having like a .dol file that's 20 megabytes. Shouldn't be a problem. And then 3DS, the embedded is just there to make it easier for loading it into like Citra, it's an emulator. But the 3DS is fine for if you're actually putting it onto a real 3DS. You'll have all your files loosely there in your folder with your .3dsx, I think is the file extension, and that runs fine just with a regular 3DS and memory card. So anyway, those are the different options. Maybe I'll go ahead and just kick off a GameCube embedded build just to see if this works. You'll see the progress in the terminal window for running on Windows, and on Linux. Yeah, it'll show up in the terminal printouts. By the way, so if you are building the embedded versions, then you will need to have DevKit Pro installed, or specifically DevKit PPC and DevKit ARM. And you also want to set your environment variables. Let me show you what mine are set to.
Oh, brilliant. Hang on, is this something important to
set your environment variables? Let me show you mine are set to.
Environment variables, Okay.
too.
What did he press? How it went so
And
fast.
you also want to set your environment variables. Let me show you mine are set too.
Okay, environment. He clicks environment variables and it brings up environment variables. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, so here we go. So if you're going to package for Windows,
Path, huh?
yeah, so here we go. So if you're going to package for Windows, you might need to set this path to your devn.exe file so that it can basically compile a project. I think in the standalone or like in the release version, you won't worry about this. But if you're building from sources, you might have to do this. And then yes, also for when you're packaging your project for 3DS or GameCube or Wii, you'll need to put this path to your DevKit Pro tools binaries so that it can run the texture conversion software to convert your text.
Alright, I have no idea what any of that means. Did I do everything correctly? Because I kind of prepared for this yesterday. Well, the game works at least. So, yeah, we'll have to see. I would like to try getting something onto the 3DS just for the funsies. That's kind of I own a Nintendo 3DS, and it was a day one launch thing, as I said before. So I'm quite big into stereoscopic 3D. GameCube's pretty cool as well, but yeah, the 3DS is the thing I actually own. I can hold it in my hand. It's got buttons. And when I was younger, I always wanted to make a game for it. So I think it'll be quite a nice little thing to do. And trying to get a little bit more like smart with memory and stuff, I guess. Get a bit smarter with code, see if I can get my head around that. Because it's so easy to be lazy with games development in certain areas, at least. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna see what happens from here on out, assuming everything's fine. If it doesn't work, then I'm not gonna worry about it.
Textures to the optimal formats for those platforms. Whew, okay. So for me, it looks like it finished. So let me open up Dolphin. Moment of truth. If we go to projects, flap, packaged, GameCube, we have flap.doll. Hey, it's working. Let me open up Dolphin. Moment of truth.
Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna play on the teeny weeny screen for the funsies. I should stop saying for the funsies. It sounds a bit gay. I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. Alright. Where's the tutorial? Okay, it's down there. Okay, so where's it saved to? Octave projects. Flap 1. Packaged GameCube, right. Okay, this just looks like the actual all the assets. Engine sets. Okay, let's see what he does.
If we go to projects, flap, packaged, GameCube, we have flap.doll.
Flap.dollar. I do not see a anything like that. Oh dear. Okay. Okay, so it looks like there's still a component missing, but oh well. Do I have time to sort this out? I have no clue. Alright. I have the instructions somewhere. This would be a cool thing to do anyways. fiddle around with my computer, see if I can find something. Okay. Funny meme. That's not quite what I'm looking for, though. Let's see. Let's think. Let's go see. What am I looking for? I've got a. I have to have my little moment. Alright, I'm looking for the README file. That's right. That's what I'm looking for. Because there were some requirements one needed. Yes, that's right. DevKit PPC. Just reading stuff. Okay. Alright, I found it. DevKit kit stuff. Let's go. Okay. Alright, let's try this again, shall we? This could take a little while. But yeah, let's see if we can get this done by midnight. We got 13 minutes left. And maybe a few seconds in addition to that. That's 11:46 p.m. Big stretch. Big yawn. Yeah, this reminds me of a meme I read the other day where someone got in trouble for updating Linux with the command line and got accused of hacking or something. I think it was like some green text from 4chan or something. It's pretty silly. Because you see a lot more of this, like just a console with text doing its thing sort of thing. When you get to the lower programming levels and understanding this stuff. I've generally stayed away from this stuff and went with interfaces, but yeah, you know, I gotta. Goodness me, it's doing quite a lot of things, huh? Stream packages. I hope all this stuff it's installing is useful, huh? I think I went through the installer pretty quickly, so I may have left everything checked. I wasn't supposed to uncheck everything, was I? And it doesn't seem like there's nothing in the README file that tells me not to do that. So hopefully, it's all good. And hopefully this installation will be done in the next couple of minutes. Then I'm gonna slip like a baby. Or maybe I'll be too lazy to go to bed. Sleepy time. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the part in the tutorial where he specifies the
embedded versions, then you will need to have DevKit Pro installed, or specifically DevKit PPC and DevKit ARM. And you also want to set your environment variables. Let me show you mine are set too. Yeah, so here we go. So if you're going to package for Windows, you might need to set this path to your devn.exe file so that it can basically compile the project. I think in the standalone, or like in the Windows, you might need to set this path to your devn.exe file so that it can
the what file? Let me play this at normal speed.
this path to your devn.exe file.
Dev what a what file? Alright, well whatever. It's not set in his particular example, so I'm just gonna ignore
so that
it.
it can basically compile the project. I think in the standalone, or like in the release version, you won't have to worry about this.
D-dogs.
If you're building from source, you might have to do this. And then, yes, also for when you're packaging your project for 3DS or GameCube or Wii, you'll need to put this path to your DevKit Pro tools binaries so that it can run the texture conversion software to convert your textures to the optimal formats for those platforms. Whew, okay. So for me, it looks like it finished. So let me open up Dolphin. Moment of truth. If we go to projects, flap.
I'm still getting errors.
Packaged GameCube. We have flap.doll.
Alright, well I guess that's it then. We're not gonna see much action, unfortunately. But yeah, the game does technically work in this particular engine. It's just a matter of exporting it to the GameCube. So I may have to investigate that some other time. So I can still participate in the jam with this. Can I export to Windows though? Let me go package projects to Windows. And hopefully that'll be a little bit smoother. We'll have to see. Maybe it'll be like, nah. It's still giving me errors though, I must say. So maybe there's something wrong. I may have to open what file? Haven't done anything. Go away. Alright, Octave projects, flap 1, packaged, Windows. Yeah, there's just nothing here. So yeah, something went wrong with the packaging. Can't find the specific file, external, gray product path. Build, project standalone, CPU standalone, build. There's a double slash there for some reason. CPU not recognized as an internal or external command. MV not recognized as an external command. Build finished. Alright. Okay. I'll have to sort it out. Alright, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream now. So yeah, thanks to the couple of lads who dropped by to say hello. And yeah, I'll be back for more streams in the future, methinks. Have a good one.